Hey, it's George Hardy from Troll 2 and Best Worst Movie and Texas Cotton, and we're here from the Cinema Psycho Show, one of the world's best podcasts. So come on out and listen, and just remember, you can't piss on Cinema Psycho's show. Oh, God.
Nailed it. That's it right there.
Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh, my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, live humans.
We have humans in the audience.
We
do.
People. Hi, everybody.
We do. Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined by my fellow co-host and filmmaker, Lane Woolscroft. No John today.
Yeah, where's John at?
You know what? He was all jazzed up about Psycho.
So excited.
He said that he...
Why are there so many whores in my house?
Did you hear that, Brian?
I did.
What's
what was
going
that?
on?
What was that?
Oh
Holy shit!
It's Mother! It's Mother!
Holy shit! Wow.
Hold my microphone. Talking about my headphones off.
Hold your microphone.
Excellent.
Okay, there you go.
I'm just going to keep this. I'm going to keep them
Norman?
both. They're mine.
Double fisting?
Yes.
Double fisting?
Double
Yeah.
fisting.
Yeah. Good dress there.
Thank you.
It's so hot. I was going to say, your balls must be a sauna right now.
Oh. And we're going in hot with balls. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, we're on episode 150.
Our special.
Special.
So special.
150th episode.
Bring that mic up a little closer to you. Not the... Yeah, there you go.
The microphone.
The
Remember
microphone.
that they need to
yes,
hear you.
The microphone.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, please.
We're on episode 150, and one, I just got to say, I never once thought when we went on this journey about a little over 3 years ago that we would reach 150 episodes.
Yeah.
Are we in the show?
Oh, yeah. It's just a thing. You're so distracted. Focus.
Apparently, I can't swear because my daughter is watching this.
Okay.
So,
She doesn't know anything yet.
No, she doesn't. But
Well, yeah,
biscuits.
but when you asked us to do this, did you think 150 episodes was going to happen?
no.
I didn't either.
No, I didn't.
I don't know what
never,
I thought. I
never
did
once
not
thought
think that, but I didn't think that.
I didn't think it wasn't a possibility. I just, when you're starting a podcast and starting an endeavor and you're like, yes, we're going to record every single week. When's it going to end?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Well, too, I mean, like you see a lot of podcasts where they do like maybe 20 episodes and they're like, oh shit, I'm busy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this has been a good thing for us. We've been
It has. It's been fun.
It's never quit you.
It's never.
Well, legally, you can't quit me without lots of paperwork.
Yeah, I was going to say, but I think
This hand is too sweaty to get this off anyways.
Excellent.
this is the time when you could. Because it's
True, that's true. But I'll be upset with you.
Yeah. But 150 episodes. That's really awesome.
It's pretty cool, man.
Really awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. And cheers to our
Cheers
wonderful
to our
audience.
wonderful audience. As I said, we have people. Like, it's not just digital. There's actual people.
I
In the
know.
audience.
I have energy.
We can't turn the camera because right now the camera is just on.
Turn the
tripod.
cameras. They never turn the cameras, folks. They never turn them. They don't show it.
No, they don't. They don't. So,
Oh, my.
Yeah, Psycho. Some might say, why did we not talk about Psycho sooner? It's in
Episode
our
1?
fucking namesake.
You would think. You would
We had to
think.
talk about Batman first.
Yeah.
okay?
We
We had to
did.
talk about Batman Returns.
guys
Because you
were
and I can't
excited
help
about
it. We
it.
had to talk about Batman immediately.
So
That's
yeah,
right.
so Psycho.
Psycho.
And this is in our tradition of doing a certain horror franchise in the month of October.
Yes.
We've done Nightmare on Elm
tradition
Street.
now.
We've done Halloween. So now we're doing the Psycho films. And I was surprised when I reached out to people how many people have not seen any of the sequels.
Yeah.
You don't want
haven't
to.
really
You
had
don't
a lot
wanna-
of
you don't
experience
wanna
with the
see.
films.
You don't want to see any of the sequels.
Oh, I can't wait to talk. I can't wait
Don't
to
want to
talk.
see the sequels.
So yeah, I mean, I think that it's something that people maybe don't realize have a lot of sequels because the first one is so iconic.
Yeah.
And the other ones, I don't know, they just seem like fake in a way
Yeah.
to have a sequel of such an iconic film because it's a classic for a reason, you know, and very prolific director and kind of lightning in a bottle, like a good example of that.
Well, it was also like 20 some years in between the first film and the second film. You know, like Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween are great films in the horror canon, but they immediately made sequels. So you kind of expected, okay, they're going to make a shit ton of these.
Right.
You know, 20 some years go by and you're like, really? You guys are making a sequel to Psycho, the classic. What are you guys doing? Although I will say that Norman Bates didn't age a day. You know, Anthony Perkins looks nearly the same.
He does look very close to the same.
I think the thing, too, is that, excuse me, there's going to be a lot of burping in this episode. Cheers. Cheers.
Right.
With Psycho, the reason why I think it is such a iconic film is because you have to look at the landscape in which horror was at that time. Okay, this is 1960. Really, the only horror you had were maybe the Hammer films. You had like the runoff of the sci-fi, you know, aliens coming to get you films. There really wasn't the idea of
Cold War fears.
Well,
nuclear
Cold War fears, nuclear fears. There really wasn't the idea of your next door neighbor is the killer.
Right.
And, you know, then you get this subject matter, which was shocking at the time. Like, that's what a lot of people don't understand is that, you know, Robert Bloch's book, basically, you know, a fictional account of the murders of Ed Gein.
Right.
You know.
Fun fact, Ed Gein, not really a serial killer. He only killed 2 people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you have to
Jess
kill
knows
more
what
than
I'm
2
saying.
people.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that, you know.
Now, he borrowed a lot of parts.
Right, he did borrow.
He was like a chop shop for humans.
Well, you know, what's
you need a femur? I got it.
But I just want to say, like, I think it's the shock value of that is so iconic.
Well, and two, I think what's interesting about this, the idea of the killer being next door, that was something that attracted Robert Bloch to the whole premise.
Yeah.
He was fascinated by the idea of Ed Gein and how you could be in a rural area and be a killer for years with, you know, and still get away with it.
No.
I mean, and we didn't even really have like the science or the law
Right.
in the 60s because if you think about like profiling through the FBI, when that started to get started from the author of the Mindhunter book that's now, you know, the series on Netflix, like in the 80s, he had a hard time getting that off the ground. And it was all those years later.
Yeah.
Now, guys, it needs to be clear. This book is not really based on Ed Gein.
No.
It's
No,
based
loosely,
on one man's
loosely.
interpretation of what he thought Ed Gein wanted to do.
Correct.
He said,
true.
"Oh, I think he wants to build a skin suit out of women." Sound familiar? Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
And yeah, this movie is for Texas Chain, or the Ed Gein was the basis for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs, Psycho,
Right,
you know,
right.
and a few others. So good for you, Ed Gein.
Yeah, I
you
was
really
gonna
helped pop
say.
culture
Seriously.
there, buddy.
I was going to say, thanks for
killed
your
a few people on the way, but
yeah, and there are some
yeah. So he
differences.
thought there was his idea was to build a skin suit to become a woman, and so Robert kind of based it off of this guy's assumption more than
Right.
actually what Ed Gein did.
Well, and two, Ed Gein's relationship with his mother also came into play because she was a very controlling figure in his life, and he also killed her. So that was another part that was kind of the, you know, the inspiration for it. And then as far as the books go, they're a little bit different. You know, Norman Bates was kind of a heavy guy, you know, a little bit different in the books.
He loved the hooch.
Oh, he was now, yeah, he was an alcoholic in the books too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Was it
wouldn't
good
be
for you
150
too?
episodes without some bodily function that you're making a noise for.
Ooh.
And that beer went up my nose. Okay.
Bodily function. That's our first up the nose.
I got it on my knockdown. But
Anyway,
yeah, we'll
so-
talk about because there were 2 sequels to the books, and we'll get there as we get on with the series.
Right.
But what people might find hilarious today is this was so controversial.
Oh my gosh,
Right,
this was almost not off the ground. So with the book out, Hitchcock actually bought the rights to it. Some reports say for $9,000, other people say $9,500. So we'll just say $9,500.
Yeah.
He bought the rights, you know, from the author, and then he actually bought every copy of the book he could find, so people wouldn't see the ending, so that it wouldn't be spoiled.
That's not how that works, Hitch.
Yeah,
Did he
but,
go
you know-
across the country to every bookstore?
Well, I mean, back then, like in
Don't
a certain
read
market,
it.
you could. I mean, you probably could at least get away with it a little bit. So
masses can't read.
So anyway, but one of the things that I think is interesting is like he went and shopped this around,
Yes.
and they were like, "No,
Everyone
this is
said no.
tasteless and terrible. Like, no, this isn't going to happen."
Think about
You
it.
know?
I mean, you're as I said, you're in the 1960s. You're coming right off of the the Cold War. I mean, you're still in the Cold War. But
Eisenhower's still president. Kennedy has not been officially sworn in.
But what I mean is like the Red Scare, more or less, of the 50s.
Right.
So, you're coming off of that, and you've got this story.
Well, it seemed in poor taste, right?
Yeah, they considered it in poor taste.
A weirdo sex pervert that likes to dress up like ladies.
Yes, weirdo sex pervert that likes to dress up like ladies.
What are you talking about, Hitch? What kind of movie is this?
Well,
and this was a departure from a lot of the stuff that he had done previously. I mean, he had
this is his only horror movie.
Correct.
Until The Birds, but that was his follow.
Oh, we don't want to get to The Birds because that's when he becomes a dick.
Well, no, he was always a dick, but
he was always a dick. It's fine.
But no studio wanted to touch it. But it wasn't just the horror stuff. It wasn't the shower scene or the guy getting cut in the face and falling down the stairs. It wasn't the iconic violence. It was, oh dear God, there's a woman in this movie.
Yes, nudity.
Who is half naked sleeping with a man who's not her husband.
Yes,
there's a toilet.
Oh
and it flushes.
First toilet ever in a movie. First toilet ever.
Yep.
And and the fact that it flushes, like, oh my God. That's
how
where poopies
dare
go.
you? That's where poopies go.
We can't show that. People will faint. But
disgusting.
it was a lot of nonsense in the movie too, of just like they thought that was extreme, which we can giggle at now, but the studio Universal did not want to.
Yeah, and Universal pretty much told Hitchcock to fuck himself a couple of times because he went to them and he was like, "Hey, I have this idea and here's the budget," and they were like, "Nah, brah." And then he decided to pare everything down and he was like, "Here's the budget and here's how it could work," and they were like, "No." And so he just was like, fuck it, I'm going to finance it myself.
Yep.
Will you distribute it with me getting 60%
of
the take?
And
they were like, I guess, make your little stupid movie that won't make any money. And then this movie made him so wealthy.
It did.
It made
I think he
millions upon millions.
He mortged his house too.
I
believe he put up his house
I didn't
as
know
collateral for that. Well, I had watched the what was it, the Anthony Hopkins biopic.
Which is very informative, but
Hitchcock.
sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Listen.
informative because you realize, again, how much of an asshole that Hitchcock was.
Also, Jessica Biel's in it.
Well, there is that. But I mean, there's also like the fact that his wife pretty much saved Psycho in the edit.
I mean, a lot of women
true.
have saved a movie in an edit.
Star Wars.
Looking
George
at you,
Lucas.
Marsha Lucas.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Marsha Lucas. You made the movie good. Thanks.
That's right.
So there's a lot of interesting backstory to these films, especially because Alfred Hitchcock was kind of a larger than life sort of character,
Yep.
Literally and figuratively. But
He actually used,
did
you
you
know
do
that
that?
he the crew on this, he had so little money to make this that he actually used
his TV crew.
His TV crew
Yeah.
from the Alfred Hitchcock hour.
That's right. He kind of, I get the impression he kind of called in every dirty favor he could.
Oh,
and they
absolutely.
shot in like a month, didn't they?
I think it was
It was
something like
cool.
that.
And that's
it was around
really
this
quick. Like
late November through Christmas. they
most
shot this
movies
movie
shoot,
of
I would
59.
say an average of 3 to 4 months is what most movies shoot for.
It depends on the movie. Yeah.
Depending on how extensive. If it's a lot of green screen, it might be longer. But
Right.
But yeah, and the thing is, he's always said, "Oh, I made it black and white as an homage to this European film." Blah blah blah.
Oh my God!
You made it black and white because that's a hell of a lot cheaper.
It's exactly
Right.
That's all it was.
the
It was
same-
cheap. You don't have to have matching lights.
No, it's
Right.
it's the same stuff as with Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
You did it because it costs less.
Sure. And I feel like our audience is very intelligent people that would be familiar with this. With
You all are intelligent
with
people,
light-
right?
Actually, they're all highly intelligent.
Extremely.
I would lie if there was a dum-dum in
among
the
the
crowd, but all
smartest-
four of these people are very intelligent.
Oh, yeah, actually, among the
50.
smartest I know. But anyway, we have a huge audience.
Hey, keep it down, 50 people. It's so loud in my ears.
But with color temperature, certain lights, kind of skew more orange. They're warmer. Others are more blue, more cool. And when you mix them, it doesn't look good.
It's a nightmare.
It's actually
looks
why Clerks is in black and white because Kevin Smith couldn't find matching lights, and he was like, "Well, fuck it, I'll just do it in black and white because then you can't tell." And I imagine it's probably the same thing. It was cheaper. I'm sure the film itself was cheaper at this time because color wasn't unheard of in 1960.
Right.
It was just a choice, and a stylistic choice at that I think actually is one of the things that makes it so iconic. True or false?
Absolutely.
What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I think.
there's quite a bit of it, because he was kind of a genius in marketing this stuff. But I just wanted to note that the writer, Joseph Stefano, who came back amazingly for Psycho 4, considering that's such hot garbage. Where are you going?
He's getting another beer. Leave him alone.
I got a drink if we're talking about Psycho
Bottle openers
4.
right there. He was going through his own issues with his mother when he wrote this screenplay, which I think really
isn't that
helped him.
funny? He was in therapy about his mom.
But, Hitch made, everybody who was on the film raise their hand and say that you will not give away the ending. You won't tell your wife. You won't tell your kids. You won't tell your cat. Nobody.
I think even the last few pages didn't even have what was on them until it was time to shoot, right?
Yep. Yeah, and that was actually something they did with Psycho 2 as well.
Right.
And then he did what is unheard of today. He had a 6-minute and 30-second trailer.
Oh my God, can you imagine that long of a trailer in today's day and age?
His bloated nonsense.
Nobody's Instagramming that shit.
A hotel. This is where people sleep. It's like 6 minutes of that.
A toilet. Yeah. You will see it flush.
Oh my God.
And then
Clutch my
two,
pearls.
Yeah. And then two. Clutching my pearls. Also too, which this is the thing I think is crazy, where they had that cutout of him in every theater that would not allow someone to enter late.
Oh.
And it said by threat of death, Mr. Hitchcock has asked the theater.
The manager of the theater has been instructed at the risk of his life not to admit the theater any person after the picture starts. Any spurious attempts to enter by the side doors, fire escapes, or ventilation shafts will be met by force. The entire objective of this extraordinary policy, of course, is to help you enjoy Psycho more. Alfred Hitchcock.
I should have known you'd have my back. It's why I married you. It's why I married you.
Yeah. And, he said, I don't care if it's the president. I don't care if it's the Pope. I don't care if it's the Queen. God bless her.
Oh, I love it.
Wow.
Nobody gets in after it started.
Wow.
And of course that, gets everybody, this is an event movie. We have to see this. This is like Endgame shit.
This is Endgame shit. Oh, I love it. I love it. So I mean, do we break down the plot?
I think we can give a broad brushstroke.
Well, and we can also talk about what's really interesting about this film.
Because I think there's a lot to dig under it.
The best place to start is literally the opening, because Hitchcock said, who notoriously didn't give credit to anybody but himself. It's like, hey, Hitch, that was a great movie. Yeah, it's on me. He said that he owes at least 60% of this movie to the score.
Oh, yeah. He doubled the composer's salary after he heard the score.
Absolutely.
He was like, shit's tight, more money.
That score is so iconic and it's so perfect.
There are people I know that haven't seen this movie, but that music. Mm-hmm. And not only just the opening theme, but the beep, beep, beep.
Yep. Yep, the knife. I got it.
That iconic shower scene. We have some audience participation. But originally, Hitchcock envisioned the shower scene being completely silent. Can you all imagine that now? When the I mean, that's so popular now. That's something that's been, homaged and enjoyed. Over the ages is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah. So a huge part of it goes to the score. I think, just like with Halloween, I feel like it's atmospheric. It really lends to the vibe and to of the whole tone of the piece.
Well, and something that's overlooked today, unless you're a film school twat, is the work of Saul Bass.
Oh, here's the thing. I talk about Saul Bass on day one of my motion graphics and After Effects class.
Lay it on me, bro. What do you say?
So I use him as an example on how you can use visual design and motion graphics to communicate the narrative of the story without literally laying it on thick. Because that Saul Bass intro literally gives you everything about what the movie is. Like, the ending just by watching the intro. Yeah. This split idea, that the text is literally shifting back and forth, the lines that are vertically running across. And you even have it kind of tie in right at the end, because at the end, the last shot of that car getting pulled out of the swamp, you have the lines again, Saul Bass's lines again animating out to the credits. So just from the opening credit sequence, that gives you enough detail to know what the film is about, that it is about split personality disorder.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and he did a lot of title sequences, advertisements, posters. So if you ever see one of those horror movie posters now that has like the killer or something at the top and then 6 really good looking people fade into each other doing and you can say why isn't anything creative anymore? I guess it's because Saul Bass is dead.
Well, he wasn't the only one. I got to say
there
there are a lot of motion graphics designers.
My hair is getting in my mouth.
Your
You've
hair.
never been sexier.
There are a lot of motion graphic designers that kind of contributed to using opening credit sequences, but Saul Bass is the one that everyone points to because he was one of the first ones to hit it big.
Yeah.
And Psycho has helped. A lot of the Hitchcock films, like I think it did North by Northwest as well.
Sure.
So
And yeah, so I mean, this movie opens up, I think, so brilliantly because it's a floating camera through the city, and it almost feels like it could go into any window.
Yes,
and whatever window it goes in, we're going to get that story, and we just randomly by happenstance come into Janet Leigh's window, Marion Crane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the weird thing is, it's not even her story. We find out
it's not.
You know, it's 25 minutes into the film before we actually meet our main character,
Guys,
which is Norman, but we'll get there.
I mean, this is so crazy because they hired her, you know, because she was a bigger name. So Janet Leigh is Jamie Lee Curtis's mom, if anyone was not familiar.
You guys didn't know that. Huh?
Yeah. Have you heard of Tony Curtis? That's her dad.
Just knew.
Yeah.
Just knew. But yeah, so these, you know, Janet Leigh was really popular at the time. She was a big actress, and that's I think that was probably the biggest expenditure.
Yes.
Was her salary probably.
That's also why she encompasses a good chunk of the poster.
Because they knew what sells, you know?
Well, Hitchcock also purposely wanted to avoid big stars for this movie because he wanted it to kind of like stand on its own.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of
He also had no money.
Yeah.
He had no money.
But I also do compare that to somebody who did have a lot of money, Jurassic Park. Like, you know, Goldblum has become kind of like iconic for millennials these days, but like Goldblum and Sam Neill and Laura Dern weren't big stars. He wanted the dinosaurs to be the star of the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and in this movie, because, you know, Anthony Perkins was kind of unheard of. He had done a lot of Broadway, some television. He had done a few movies, like Jimmy Stewart Westerns and things like that. But, you know, he was...
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, and, you know, the reason that he went from being somebody that, you know, rest in peace, kind of looked like Philip Seymour Hoffman in the book, to Anthony Perkins is that they wanted... The book tells you right away that he's crazy. The movie doesn't want you to believe that and to know that until you get further in. So they wanted a guy with boyish good looks that you could never imagine.
He does look so innocent. I mean, that can't be overlooked. Like when you see Anthony Perkins in this role, he's very boyish. He seems very vulnerable, and that's what Hitchcock liked about him.
It's only in the sequels when you start to be like, yeah, he looks creepy.
Well, he's older.
Well, he's so boxy.
No, but I mean...
And he wore shoulder pads, and it's so distracting.
Yeah, but he looks
It was
really
the 80s.
creepy.
What do you want?
Well, the thing is, like, he had these broad shoulders. His arms were, like, muscular, but small muscular. And he had this puffy chest.
I think they call that svelte.
Yeah, and he was just...
He was, like, muscular, but not really muscular.
He was... he was like Frankenstein in a no-carb diet. You know, it was just weird. But,
Frankenstein on keto.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
But anyways, old
Carb
Marion...
bad.
Marion wants to run away.
Yeah,
she wants to run away. So, and then a guy, she's working at like a bank, and a guy comes in. He's like, "Hey, sweet tits, look at this, $40,000. You know what happens if you run this amount of money in front of the wrong person? I'll tell you what, you'd be in a lot of trouble. All $40,000. Here you go, sweet tits. Hold this for me.
Sure,
I'm gonna go drink bourbon in the back room." And she's like, "Fucking A."
Sure hope you can count that high, little lady.
Here's the reason why she's taking the money. You didn't mention why she's taking the money. She's taking the money because she's sleeping with Sam Loomis, who has no money.
Yeah, Sam Loomis, who is also, the psychologist in Halloween. It was John Carpenter's homage.
Yeah, but the whole reason why he's like, well, I just want to marry you. She wants to marry him. And he's like, well, I'm poor as shit.
Yeah.
I feel
Can't
like
you steal
that's
some money,
like,
sugar?
I feel like that's some excuse bullshit, though.
That is some excuse bullshit.
Like,
Let's
you
be
know,
honest.
oh, well, I'll marry you if you steal $40,000. And she says, challenge accepted.
Well,
dick.
he doesn't even say steal $40,000. He just says,
No, I know.
"Oh, well, I've got these debts that I have to pay off, and maybe then I will do it." And he's like, "Well, you know, you don't want to live with me. I work at a hardware store, and I'm poor as shit." So,
I feel like that's
Take that,
bullshit.
people who work at hardware stores.
No,
I'll
but
tell you
that's
what,
it.
though.
Yeah. No, I know it's in the movie.
it's
I'm
in the
not saying
movie.
you.
He's literally saying like, "I'm poor as shit." You know, you don't want to marry me. So
I'll tell you what, if it
guys-
was made today, it would have been his student loans.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Special shout out here to Kathy, who did do the inflation adjustment, and that $40,000 in is $346,700 today.
Yes.
That might be why
Yes.
when they did
It's a lot of money.
Bates
I mean, it's
Motel,
more than
they
you
upped
would
it
think.
to 400,000.
Yeah, the 98 version of Psycho does up it to 400,000.
Well, I was talking about the
TV show that actually succeeded.
The TV show they upped it to 400,000, and they had Rihanna play what's her face.
Rihanna was it? What season did she? I mean, I only
She
saw
was
the
in
first
the
season.
end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She played Marion Crane.
Did she look sexier than I look right now?
Well, you're Norma or
I don't
Norman.
know.
Your
Yeah,
mother.
All right, maybe a
Your
little.
mother.
I don't know.
Your mother.
Yeah. But yeah, so she takes the money, and then the scene where she's kind of driving away and she's really paranoid. It's kind of brilliant because, she hears what she thinks they're talking about in her head. And that was a Hitchcock decision made in post-production because it was just so quiet and kind of boring of her just driving over a long period of time. So they put that voiceover in to kind of give it a little extra atmosphere. And then it's rained a little too much and she lands at the Bates Motel, the last goddamn hotel she should stop at.
I love the tension in the scene where the cop pulls her over because we know more as the audience than he does, and it just makes me so uncomfortable, mostly because as a woman alone, being pulled over by a cop sounds terrible anyway, but then to know that you committed a major crime and all this, like that
got a hunk of money this
lot.
thick.
Yeah, it adds a lot of tension, I think, to this scene for
Well,
sure.
I think it's what's great about that sequence from the point she steals the money to when she arrives at the Bates Motel is that it's playing on the idea of you're scared of your environment. You know what I mean? Like she's terrified of every path that she's trying to get out of the city and get to Sam. Every point she is completely and utterly terrified, and it isn't until she's at the Bates Motel when obviously you should be terrified at that point that she has actually put her guard down. Because her guard is completely up all through that sequence up until the point when she is at the Bates Motel. So it's brilliant filming.
Yeah, she thinks that she's made it, and she's mistaken.
Yeah, she's gonna have a shower, glass of wine, rub the main vein, go to sleep. Have a night of it. Little does she know someone's having a peeky poo.
Are you
inside.
suggesting she'll have a lady fap? Is she having a lady fap?
Lady
John?
fap, a lap. Yeah, she's gonna take a lap. But
Wow.
Yeah.
Every single time that, John, you come up with these isms, as we'll call them, I keep thinking of, well, that's a t-shirt, that's a t-shirt, that's a t-shirt. So is that going to be a t-shirt?
I want a lady fap t-shirt.
Hashtag lap.
we
Lady
still
fap.
haven't made fapping to Lassie as a shirt. We really need to make that
Well, I
shirt.
told you, Johnny Hollywood's going to turn into a
Yeah.
shirt. That has to happen. It
does.
Because that's literally what your name is. I don't know why you still call yourself Johnny Nitro on Facebook. It should be Johnny Hollywood.
Oh, it shouldn't be that anymore.
No, it should be Johnny Hollywood.
Yeah. But yeah, so she meets Norman, and it's so strange to me how he was portrayed as such a nice guy to the audience because now I watch it and I'm like, this dude is shooting so many red flags.
It's a little
Like,
scary.
hey, I brought you some warm milk and sandwiches from the house after I just screamed my mom. Come in my back room where I have dead animals on the walls, and I'm going to tell you how much I love my mom. And it's like,
okay.
red flag, red
You're gonna
flag.
die.
Because he's like, well, there are nice places you can take your mom. My mom will stay in the house forever. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get a little worked up. You eat like a bird. It's like, okay. This guy's a killer. I don't know how the audience
This
didn't know
guy's a
that.
killer.
Maybe it's
Well,
because I knew it going in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, too, just don't forget, in the older days, movie or food sucked.
Yes, it did.
Don't forget, White Christmas over here, where it's liverwurst and buttermilk and shit. So
a liverwurst and
buttermilk.
yeah, man, look that shit up. White Christmas, it's in it. It's
that's
in
disgusting. That's vomit.
Instead of shit.
Your sister would buy a lap shirt. She said.
Oh,
She
okay.
would.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Katie.
Thanks,
okay.
Katie.
Yeah, your sister would. Hashtag lap.
But yeah, it's that boyish good looks and that innocence that, kind of doesn't make you think that this guy is dangerous, even though he does kind of peek at her while she's taking a shower.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest here. He
Creepy.
is not just peeking.
He's creepy.
He is doing the fapping.
Is it a crap because it's a creepy fap?
Oh, it might be.
Well, no, because,
it's a cap.
that's not what flushed down the toilet.
No, that's
it was
a cap.
paper.
It was a cap.
It was no crap.
It was a cap.
I don't know. I think creepy fap. I think I
Or
like
kafap.
it. Kafap?
Like Kafifi, it's a kafap.
Go home. No, just kidding. That was amazing.
I believe that Hitchcock wanted to basically that's what he's doing when he's watching her,
but he couldn't do it.
But he couldn't do it. But of course,
true.
Years later, you've got Gus Van Sant, who's like, yeah, we're going to literally show that happen.
Oh yeah.
Whether you need that or not, I don't.
Well,
think
it's Gus Van Sant, the little pervert. He is.
He kind of is.
It's fair.
But so something on that no lane where I said, oh, he's so clearly like a killer and he's just letting out the warning signs. This is 15, 16 years before they caught Bundy.
Yes.
And the thing is, people said, oh, he can't be a killer. He's too good looking.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
that's how we judge whether he's a killer or not.
Good-looking people won't kill people.
Yeah, good-looking people don't murder.
Only slug-looking people kill people.
And of course, this benefits men, as usual. He's so good-looking, he couldn't be a killer, whereas all we get is...
Men suck.
You shouldn't study math. You're too pretty.
Men suck.
Or if
dumb.
you are... Or here's the thing. If you are someone who murders, you're a black widow, you... You ever heard that? That's what it is. Oh, she's a femme fatale.
Listen... I can name several dudes who I'd like to praying mantis on that shit. So
one sitting right next to you. Yep.
He's okay.
He's okay.
I haven't hit my mark yet.
There you go.
Haven't hit my limit.
No, but then we have a shower scene that's kind of forgettable, and then
a shower scene that's kind of forgettable. Yeah. Well, there's all kinds of fun facts about the shower scene, which I think is pretty cool.
Yes.
So the blood in the scene is actually chocolate syrup.
Bosco's chocolate syrup.
Because it photographed better, with the black and white.
Red comes out gray and black and white.
Yep.
If you ever watch the old Superman show, his cape is gray. If you watch it again, it's because it's completely blood red. Mm-hmm. They should have made it a black cape because the audience would never have known. But
that's true. And also, Hitchcock is a dick, and he used freezing cold water to get real screams out of Janet Leigh.
That's a rumor.
Oh, is it?
That's a rumor.
Is it?
Really?
Janet Leigh came out and said that they did keep her warm.
Well,
really?
How kind of him.
It's urban legend.
I wish that could have been the same consideration.
He did put the mummified mother thing in her dressing room.
Oh, that's fun.
And she screamed and he went, brilliant. It works.
Brilliant. It works.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. All right. So what other fun facts
I wish Tippi Hedren had that same, level of consideration on the birds.
Oh, I thought this was interesting. Tell everybody this. I thought that one was really, really interesting.
In order to implicate viewers as fellow voyeurs, Sir Alfred Hitchcock used a 50mm lens on his 35mm camera. This gives the closest approximation to human vision. In the scenes when Norman is spying on Marion, this effect is felt.
I think that's cool. He
That's
replicated what we would see in the natural eye to kind of implicate us and kind of get us to see what Norman was kind of going through. I thought that was super interesting.
Yeah. And
go ahead. I was going to say that the editing in this is very interesting because
there's 80 cuts.
There's 80 cuts, and it's almost has kind of a disjointed feel to it. Again, kind of going back to the way that Psycho is supposed to be with the opening credit sequence being disjointed. It kind of has a disjointed feel with the cuts. Like we're seeing this shot of the shower head, and then we're seeing this shot of Marion, and then we're coming back and forth. And it's all very jump cut like.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, they actually built a special shower head where they clogged the middle shower head component so that it would go around the camera.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So
they couldn't get
wet?
the camera wet. They didn't have a screen.
They didn't have
for
GoPro
it.
back then.
Yeah, no GoPro situation.
That blows my mind that you could literally just stick your GoPro under the fucking shower head now, and it would be higher quality image than actual film stuff. I mean, that blows my mind sometimes when I don't know. This is what I sit and think about when I can't sleep. Apparently,
they initially the cinematographer wanted to just have it be first person shooter. Wanted just the knife to come in, and it's just from the point of view of the knife. And Hitch was like, no, we need to shoot this literally 300 different ways. And Janet Leigh said she was on set 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and 2 of those weeks was just the shower scene.
Well, no, what I read was that however long she was doing the shower scene, it was a third of her entire time in the film. Yeah. Just that one scene was a third of what she did for shooting. Because if they only did it for a month, that wouldn't be enough. So,
interestingly, our lead actress is dead. And now she's in the trunk of a car, and the newspaper full of money is also in the car. And now the movie starts.
Dun, dun, dun.
And now the movie actually starts.
Is anybody else sad about the money going in the swamp? Because, like, Mama's got student loans.
That's right.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Like, Mama's
You're
got
pissed
some
off.
student
You're like, come
loans.
on.
I R.I.P.
Money.
R.I.P. clutch of cash.
Especially since the hotel's not
Makes me
doing
sad.
so well. Old Norm could have used that to paint.
Right?
You know? Get an ice machine.
I mean,
But isn't that brilliant though? Because like we don't know it's him. Spoiler alert. But the murder is just about killing.
No, it was him.
It's just about killing a chick. Like it's not motivated by a theft. I mean, he just wants her to die. Like that's creepy as shit.
well, I think it's interesting. Like, I got to ask this question. If he did find the money, would he is he that far gone that he would just like take it and like start wallpapering his walls with it?
No, man. I think he would have buried that shit. He didn't
I think
care.
he would have just been
remember,
like, I'm
he
gonna wallpaper
doesn't-
the walls. That I'm losing
He's an
my mind. You know?
anthropomorphic.
He doesn't
son of a
know
bitch.
he's mother. So he probably would have found the money and been like, well,
This buys a lot of
sweet.
cheese sandwiches.
Hashtag
and
steak
some warm
dinner.
milk. I can put more owls on my wall that when I'm talking to a woman and I'm shot from beneath, the owls will look at the camera like this.
You should fuck him.
Yeah, it's not.
Literally
That's
what
not a
they're
warning
saying.
sign or anything.
This will pay to put a peephole in every room. 'Tis a jolly good day.
But good old Norman, he thinks it's mom, and so does the audience at this point. If it's the first time they've seen
Yeah.
it, you know, and it's like 1960, and I mean, I knew it was Norman because I saw this in 1996.
Yeah.
But
Well, and Norman looks quite like you because Anthony Perkins is tall, or he was tall, right? He was a tall guy.
He's fairly tall
like
guy.
6'2" or so. Yeah.
Yeah,
fairly
so it's
tall
about
guy.
your height. So, just imagine all this coming at you in the shower.
Yeah, he cleans it up, throws her in the swamp, and they always mention that when the car kind of stops in the swamp, and you as the audience go, "Oh no," because you're feeling for him because you don't know it was him. You think his mother did this.
Oh, yeah. You feel bad for him because you're like, oh, shit, is he going to get caught? Or like, I don't know. The way that they play with emotion in this film, I think is really interesting as well.
It's really interesting.
I think it's really cool.
Like, I can see where people in 1960 were like, oh, yeah, like just at that point watching the film, we're like, oh, yeah, it obviously is the mother. Everything is telling me it's the mother. And that way, when you flip it on its head, and it's revealed that Norman is actually his mother as well as himself and is the murderer.
Well, Brian,
I mean,
no man would dress in a woman's clothes.
Well, also,
He would have to be in a loony bin if he was going to do that.
Well, also-
no man dresses as a woman.
you need to do that with a cigarette in your mouth because that's what everyone did.
Let me tell you something. No man would dress like a broad.
well, remember, too.
He already has a penis, so he's the winner. This is science, folks. You can
fucking
trust
kill
me.
you.
I have a penis myself. So what I say,
Where's the lie though? Like, I'm sure he's right. But what I was going to say is
I didn't mean to cut you off.
movies at this time, it's fine. Movies at this time, like, there were no twists like that.
No.
Like, we're always like, oh, the Shyamalan twist. Like, we're so jaded now.
Yes.
It's hard to remember a time when this shit was like fresh. That's what I think is really fascinating.
Yeah, definitely.
and then we get introduced to Sam Loomis. John something, I can't remember his name, and an extremely annoying Vera Miles, who want to know
she is
what the hell
horrible.
happened.
She is horrible.
to Marion.
I can't stand her.
You mean John Gavin, who played
Yeah.
Sam Loomis? Yeah.
who
John Gavin.
Hitchcock himself.
Oh no,
calls-
I'm sorry. Is that right?
Wait.
You're not
Yeah,
talking about
that's
like
right.
Arbogast?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the detective? The
Oh,
Yeah, no, Arbogast there, the
Arbogast.
private detective. Yeah, John, what's his face, who plays him? He said he was. Hitchcock called him like the stiffest actor he's ever seen. He wanted to cast like 6 other people in front of the studio. Said, "No, we owe him one." He goes,
Oh,
"We
wow.
owe him
We owe
and
him
you
one.
don't have any say here because we gave you $30 to make this movie."
And you're making a movie about
I
son
don't
who
think
wants
he's terrible.
who's
To be
in love
fair,
with his
60
mother and wants
bucks
to
in
kill people.
60
Like, that's what
was
you're
like
making.
a lot of money.
You have no.
You're a snuff film.
Yeah, I mean that's literally what he comes.
pretty much what they thought. But yeah, and then they go out and they hire a private detective who starts hanging out with Norman, who's eating candy corn, which he's a killer. Who eats candy corn?
Fuck
in
you! I like
December?
candy corn.
Yeah, that's right. This is in December.
Do
That's
not reach your
right.
hand, Eric. No.
All right, and anyone like candy
Not in
corn?
December,
Anybody?
right?
Yeah.
No, no,
Okay,
you're-
not December. Never. Okay.
Never in December.
And never. We have candy corn haters.
First of all,
Yeah.
how fresh is that candy corn going to be in December?
They just wash it from every year. That's what Lewis Black said. Yeah.
Exactly, but I'm just saying, like that is going to be nasty candy corn by then.
I mean, to be fair, I have like 4 pieces, and I'm like, I'm so spooky, and it's Halloween, and then I'm like, oh fuck, this is really too sweet. I only have like 4 pieces, but
that's when the diabetes starts to hit.
I enjoy all 4 of them.
Diabetes.
I saw a recipe for candy corn vodka. Like you can steep candy. Oh, I think Jess is actually gonna vomit.
No, I'm gonna pass on that one.
I don't know. I might make it this year. It'd be a nice like use for it. I don't know. It's vodka after all.
It's vodka.
At the end of the day, there's something good about it.
Not to get horribly sidetracked, but I knew somebody that used to just put a straw in the cotton candy vodka and drink it like it was like a soda.
You're going to have to tell me later who the fuck that was.
Gross.
Jesus.
I won't out them.
Whatever happened to just like normal vodka?
I don't know. I'm a bourbon
Whatever
man.
happened
Vodka
to the
tastes like
good old
shit to me.
days
Yeah.
where vodka tastes like sadness? And
No, it just tastes like fucking vodka.
When we had bourbon and cigarettes in every restaurant, and men didn't dress like broads.
my God.
They were crazy, I tell you. But
Yeah, I'm going to need
where
you
are
to
we in
beer
this
me.
movie? I got horribly sidetracked.
I don't know. I need a beer.
yeah. And
Arbogast is hanging out with
Arbogast.
Norman.
Open
and his
me.
creepy candy corn.
And yeah, essentially, here, I can't talk and do this.
Oh my God, do the thing. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Anyways, and he decides he's going to go check out the house.
Okay.
After Norman's like, get the fuck out of here. And his
that what he
Norman
said?
way,
Might wake up.
And
Mother might wake up.
We
'Cause
get-
he just keeps saying that like his mom's sick.
yeah, she has the sickness. She's got the sickness.
She's got the itis.
She's got the ill.
She's got the itis. And we
got
get
the
probably the
ill.
second most famous shot in this film. And it's so brilliantly shot because, you know, the private detective is going up the stairs and you get that bird's eye view of the corner.
so
And
good.
Mother comes out of the bedroom. And I've heard people that said when they first saw it, like they just screamed. Some people just ran out. They were like, oh, hell no. Because they think this creepy little old lady comes out, cuts his face, and he falls down the stairs like nobody has ever fallen down the stairs.
Dude, maybe. I don't know. I feel like Meryl Streep in Death Becomes Her is close. It's close.
That's pretty
Sweet reference.
That's
It's
a
a
good
sweet
reference.
movie.
That's
It's one
an
of my-
awesome movie.
one of my
That's going to
faves.
have to be on our, really that awful.
Fuck yeah, I'm in.
You know.
What? Oh, no, really? No, that's great.
But I haven't met anyone who said that's awful. But I could see it being one of those ones that's like very forgettable. Like I think
Those people
might
are
have forgot
wrong.
those ones.
Goldie Hawn in her prime, roll tide. But anyways,
Especially as a redhead.
but you know, it's so. I think it's so famous because it's so odd how he goes down the stairs, and the way they shot it was that they did a dolling shot down the stairs with nobody there, and then they shot him on rear screen projection because green screen wasn't really a thing,
Right.
and they basically just had him go
Yep.
in front of the shot of the
Can
stairs.
you imagine shooting that and
They
feeling
used-
like a jackass?
They used a lot of rear
Yeah.
screen projection in this. Every
Yeah.
car,
All the car
sequence
shots,
were
yeah.
all rear screen.
You know, I think sometimes it works a little better.
it's
depends.
coming back.
Depends.
Believe it or not, it's coming back.
I believe it. I
a
think
lot
it's
of the
better.
movies now. Well, the thing is with rear screen projection, you don't have to deal with like color spill on your
Right.
stuff.
Brian,
so, like,
what's rear screen projection?
so rear screen projection for the layman or lady
You snot.
For you idiots.
is ultimately where you. Hey, give me that.
It turned on me.
I'm a feeble old woman.
I will make you a real woman. So anyway, rear.
Too late. She has my balls in her purse.
Wow. This just
It's a madhouse today, guys. It's a madhouse.
This is why we don't do live episodes very often.
It's such a treat.
But the point is, rear screen projection is literally just, having a projector behind a screen and playing back footage that's already previously shot. They did it in the 50s and 60s, mainly because they didn't have the technology that we have now. They had optical printing, but still it was difficult. It was expensive. The beauty of it having it now, and you're seeing this happen with that Tom Cruise movie Oblivion, where he's like
Vaguely, yeah.
a
I didn't
clone.
see it, but yeah.
Well, he's like in a clone, and he's like in an Earth type world where he lives in like a glass house type thing.
Usually when I see Tom Cruise as the build actor in the trailer, I go, ha!
Well, the point is that they used older techniques like rear screen projection to be able to give realistic backgrounds and have that light fall off. So that's one of the benefits of it, is that you do get that light fall off.
It can look ridiculous, though.
Well, and this time it was ridiculous, and that's just because
But it made it so famous. It wasn't just a guy tumbling down the stairs.
I think it's also a matter of just like, if you're looking at everyone's doing it and everyone's like suspended their disbelief of, we can tell that person's not really in the car And yeah, we could tell that there's a projection behind them and everybody's doing it from like, the top down studios all the way to these guys. I don't think it's that big of a deal. If you're in that atmosphere, to do it now, it's a little bit because you do have green screen now that can do it.
But this leads to, since they lose touch with this guy, Vera Miles and Mr. Stiff.
Mr. Stiff?
They go to the police and they wake him up and they said, hey, this Norman fella, it seems a little off to me.
Like, no, Norman's good.
Yeah. He's like, shut up, little lady.
He's legit.
His mom's been dead for years. She's in the cemetery. You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, he's even
go away.
He was like, well, maybe you should get your police involved. We don't want to get the police involved. She stole money. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Should get the police involved.
Yeah.
Then we get this all taken care of.
Right, because Lila finds out that she did take money. They find the slip of paper that says $40,000 on it. Apparently, that asshole in the office wrote it down just in case she couldn't.
Just in case he forgot that there was a shit ton of money in there. He needed to know the exact amount of shit ton of money.
But they decide to take things into their own hands. We have a great shot where Norman's afraid that Mother's going to be caught. So same kind of bird's eye shot. He's carrying Mother into the basement. Once again, you can't see her face, and you hear two people talking. So for the original audience that saw this, we still don't know that Mother's is dead.
Right.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
And
hey, I mean, but if some people haven't, it's okay. I'm very much
We're
of
not
the
going to
mind.
shame them.
Right. I'm very much of the mind, oh my God, you haven't seen it. You're going to love it. Not, oh my God, you haven't seen it. That's dumb.
God, you haven't seen
That's
it.
dumb. With books too, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for you to read it. Let's talk about it when you're done. So.
But Vera Miles, excuse me, I can't remember her character. You just said it. Her character. Lila.
I love that name.
Yeah,
I
breaks
love
in
the
the
name
house,
Lila.
and shenanigans ensue. And she runs.
Well, Sam
to the
tries to
basement.
distract Norman by.
Oh, hey Norman, who's your favorite ball player? Huh? You like baseball, don't you?
No, but here's the thing. Sam is such a fucking idiot because here's the reason why. That Lila is going up to the house to go confront the possible killer.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are you going to do, Sam? Instead of keep Norman calm and chill like a fucking cucumber. No, what are you going to do? Well, a woman came here. Yeah, you see her? Huh? Yeah, let me see that ledger there. Yeah, just literally piss him the fuck off.
Listen, little lady, let the man handle this, okay?
Look, you little
shut
mom
your trap,
cuck. Huh? What, your mom's up there, you little bitch?
No, but
what if my girlfriend was up there right now? What would your mom do? Is she up there right now? No.
Oh my God.
Oops.
The face you did right there literally is the face he does. No.
See, it's a shame that you can't see
I'm
his
going to eat
face
my
more
candy corn and
often.
cheese sandwiches now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm taking your cheese sandwich back. Oh.
Candy corn grilled cheese.
No.
I ruined everyone's life. I'm so excited.
Wash it down with some candy corn vodka.
But, she goes to the basement and she finds Mother, who she turns around, and I don't care if it's 1960 and this is 2019. That's still a creepy ass fucking shot of mummified mama.
Well, it's so quiet.
It is. Yeah.
It's quiet. There's no sound.
Yeah.
There's no nothing. It's just the chair turns.
Well, till Norman comes in. Hello!
Is it like Mrs. Doubtfire?
It is like Mrs. Doubtfire.
He looks like Johnny Depp playing Ed Wood.
Sometimes I like wearing women's clothing.
I like to wear women's underwear.
Oh no, I'm all man.
Yeah,
I'm all man.
I even fought in WWE too. Yeah, but Sam comes in, tackles him, he gets arrested, and then we get the studio mandated explanations.
Yes.
But I mean, in 1960, I feel like it's warranted.
Well, what I find
if it was
funny,
now, I think it was.
Well, what I
weird.
find
I don't
funny
understand, honey.
is-
That doll kind of looked like a man. And were there two moms?
Well, what I find funny is just like you can tell that the actors that are playing these characters, like the one character says, "Well, like a transvestite," which, by the way, not appropriate term nowadays.
Nope, that's not right anymore.
They
But
didn't
it
even-
was. It was at the time. I mean,
They
at
didn't
the
even
time,
want to put it in the movie, but they got it through because they said, "Oh, it's a psychological term."
But what I
Right.
find funny is you can tell how like alien that terminology is to those people, even just playing those characters. Like it goes
Right.
like a transvestite.
But and the weird thing is, this explanation scene goes on for roughly about 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Yes.
It does not. You guys,
It does go on
you
way
guys are
too
so
long.
fucking
They could have
dramatic.
done it in like 3 minutes.
Guys,
No,
no,
it goes
he's
on way
dramatic.
too
He's
long.
like, well, Norman was not your average man.
You got to break out your cigarettes.
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
one. You're
You
like,
see, Norman liked to dress up like a doll. You're probably thinking, what kind of man likes to dress up like a doll?
I feel like
mother.
you don't have the benefit of a book to explain it. So you have to have some kind of exposition. That's what
That's
we call exposition.
But that's like
Just call get out of the theater, call your beatnik friend to tell him how all this works. Oh, hey, man, some guys like to dress up like ladies, you know.
beatnik friend.
You're the worst. You're
My
the
beatnik
worst.
friend who lives downtown and the jazz club. But yeah, and it just, I don't know. I would cut that out of further or future movies. Like it's so unnecessary.
I think
Right.
as Lane said, like it's there because the audience is looking at.
But today we don't
terminology.
need it anymore.
Well, no, I don't think
Yeah.
today you need it. But I mean, the audience has no idea what that means and
Right.
why
In any sense.
In any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So like to put it into some kind of context, and honestly, I think they do it to still add a little bit of sympathy for Norman.
Yeah.
They're trying to inject a little bit of sympathy that he is not entirely in control of his actions.
But come on, that last scene of him and the
Oh, well, that's yeah.
Come on.
Well,
I
that's not him.
hurt
a fly.
But that's not him anymore.
Yeah. He's completely
mother.
at that
His
point.
mother.
And he gives that
He's a
look up
mother
at the
boy.
camera. Yeah, he breaks that fourth wall shot,
Yeah.
And but yeah, he's completely mother at that point. The guard actually outside of his room is Ted Knight, who some people might know from the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh, really?
Who played Ted on the show, the bumbling news anchor, but small Hollywood world.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to, Ryan, as you said, the shot of the car being pulled from the swamp. And it gets to that point where right there you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot Janet Leigh was dead. I forgot about this swamp and it's so...
Oh, that's right. She's dead in there.
Yeah,
It's such
well-
an unconventional story. I love how it's so bizarre that they kill off their main character not even halfway through the movie.
It's about
Yeah.
halfway through.
about halfway.
And you almost forget about her, even though that Vera Miles is there and they're trying to find out what's going on. You forget that she's in the swamp.
Well, yeah, and you don't see Janet Leigh's in the swamp, but you
Or,
don't see
excuse me.
Vera Miles until like almost an hour into the
Yep.
film. It's amazing.
Thank God for
57
that.
minutes.
And-
I find her annoying. I'm sorry.
And I feel like these are the reasons why this movie's so iconic now, because it just broke conventions. Now, a lot of the story stuff was based on the book, but the idea to cast somebody huge and then kill her off, I mean, that was all Hitchcock. Like he was kind of he was a huge dick. Kind of a psycho. But,
Kind of a
but there's
psycho.
a reason. I mean, there's a reason why his
cinema
vision was
psycho.
important. So
But if Halloween was the daddy of the slasher film, this is the granddaddy.
definitely.
Yes.
And this is
definitely.
one of the few films I will happily give a 10 out of 10 in terms of the horror film. This is,
Yeah.
to me, this movie's a masterpiece.
It's beautifully shot. Like
yeah.
the framing of everything is just incredible. The way it broke
Beautiful
conventions.
pacing.
I mean,
Beautiful music.
agreed,
I mean,
agreed.
editing is spot on.
It is.
There's a moment there that you're literally looking at your phone or looking at your watch or anything like that when you're watching this.
No,
You're on-
'cause
Wait,
we-
did somebody bring the rotary phone?
I mean currently.
I know,
Can
I
you
know.
imagine dicking around
What do you
on a
got there?
road?
Well, I've heard it, and I had to
Hold on a
visit.
second, I'm getting a phone call.
It's just listen. It'll be that one asshole who had time travel, went back in time, and said, "Yeah, you're going to be carrying your phone around with you wherever." And you're like, "Well, I better start now."
Yeah.
You carry around the rotary phone. Oh, jeez.
Quit taking your mics. Yeah. But yeah, it is beloved by critics and fans today. It was not so much when it came out.
Oh, no,
A lot
I
of people
mean-
tell this as filth and trash.
Well, it was very
Smut.
polarizing. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't revered for being an art form, but rather being kind of, I don't know the word, like lowbrow, I guess. You know, because of the
It was horror. So at the time, like horror,
an
was-
unmarried lady. Oh my god!
Well, it was that, and just as I said, like horror has never really had much respect.
No, never. Yeah.
You know?
And you still see that today.
Yes, you do.
No matter what the film, there's like 3 or 4 respected horror movies. Exorcist, Silence of the Lambs, this one, and the rest are garbage.
Right, but like, how long did it take for this one to be respected?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
many years.
Right,
it didn't even
right.
play on TV till the 70s. But
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Walt Disney
wow.
refused to allow Hitchcock to film at Disneyland in the early 60s because Hitchcock made that disgusting movie,
Oh my
Psycho.
God, can the mouse just kiss my ass? Like, for God's sake. For God's sakes.
You mean anti-Semitic asshole Walt Disney wouldn't allow that?
Imagine
Union
him
breaker,
being a dick.
Union breaker.
sexist,
Yeah.
anti-Semitic,
An anti-Semitic Nazi sympathizer. Okay, yeah.
the guy who like worked with the
There's no proof that
the
he's
government
a Nazi sympathizer, but I mean he is an anti.
But I mean, he's dead, so Brian can say whatever he wants.
yeah.
So
But
I
anyways,
feel like that
yeah.
encapsulates
Well, I have a few
Psycho,
other
and then there's
interesting
like some
facts
other
here.
stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Hitchcock got a letter from a father who was angry because his daughter refused to take baths after this, to which Hitchcock wrote back to him, send her to the dry cleaner.
I mean, that's savage as fuck. Like, do you guys want to live in a
He's
world?
piece of shit.
See that show with Hitchcock where those like sunglasses come down and it's called like that gangster sunglasses?
Guys, okay. Hot take. I wish Alfred Hitchcock was alive so he could have a Twitter account. He would be more savage than the Wendy's Twitter account, I feel. He would be savage.
Wendy's
He would
Twitter
be
account.
savage. He would. I know it.
This was the highest grossing movie.
He'd also be sexually harassing blondes too.
Oh, he's
Oh, yeah.
gross. He is gross. I feel like if he
the
lived...
Me Too generation with
I'm
Hitch.
just saying, Hitch would not last the Me Too generation. He would not.
Let's just put
at
him in the
all.
Matrix. Like, just put him in the internet so he can have a Twitter and not look at it.
Janet, I'm going to need to see your boob. Because you shower in this movie. Don't you want to be a star?
It is so hard to take you seriously in that way. Kara likes it, by the way. She said so.
Oh, sweet. You know, see, it's one of those things like when you break your ankle and you're still in a shoe, like you don't take it off because you're afraid it's going to swell. Like, I can't take this thing off now.
Oh, your hair is going to be ridiculous. I can't wait.
But yeah, Janet Leigh and Anthony Perkins were horribly typecast after this movie, and they said that they would rather be remembered for one great thing and then to never be known for anything at all.
Do you agree?
No,
Really?
I do not.
Brian,
Yeah.
do you agree?
Do you agree with what?
I don't think my microphone's on, by the way. I can't hear myself. Can you guys hear me?
I can't hear you.
Nope.
Oh,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
just talk really loud.
Apparently.
That's fine.
But yeah, Brian, would you want to be known for one great role?
Yes.
Me too. I'd take that over nothing.
I'd rather have.
Because what if you were obscure and just nothing?
That's okay because then I can actually go out to a diner or restaurant. You know. Oh. Yeah, but
I'm
It
just
depends on what that
don't need
role
this.
is. Like that's the way I look at it. It really depends on what that role is.
yeah. Brian, would you do me a favor while I just give a few more factoids and just see if Lane's mic is plugged in? Well,
I mean, I
It's
can only
plugged
check
in.
the headphone. I
hold
can't
on,
really check
just
the-
for one more day.
Well, maybe I'm too low. I don't know. Oh, maybe I'm too low. I don't
you
know.
too low?
I don't know.
Well, while Brian's checking that, this
I
was
just work
the
here.
highest grossing film that Hitchcock made.
Is that me?
I don't. Some people consider it his best, but in a lot of times, are you getting any feed?
We got this.
Okay.
Do your thing.
You're coming in on here.
Oh, am I? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Maybe my headphones aren't plugged in. Wouldn't that be
could
funny?
That. I mean,
that
I
would be funny.
I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing you're getting
All right.
levels here.
All
Okay.
right, well, I'm taking these off because they're
Okay.
sweaty.
Technical.
So sweaty.
But you know, some people do consider it his best film. But you know, I mean, there's North by Northwest, Rear Window. There's tons of films that other people consider greater, but it is his highest grossing, probably most famous. Is that a fair statement?
Most iconic.
Most
I feel like
iconic.
they're not the same thing.
So I feel like a lot of people. Hey, you ever see North by Northwest? No. You ever see Vertigo? No. You ever see Rope? No. You ever see Dial M for Murder? You ever see Strangers on the Train? No. Do you see Psycho? Yeah, I saw that one.
If you haven't seen it, you've heard of it.
Yeah.
And then 20 goddamn years go by, and they make Psycho 2.
Oh my God. Okay. I am so excited, guys, to talk about
Excited to talk about this?
Psycho 2.
Okay.
Electric Boogaloo.
Okay. So Anthony Perkins almost was like, nah, brah. He almost was like, I don't want to. But then, I don't know.
almost
He
like, I
was
don't
like,
wanna.
what else am I going to fucking do?
Yeah.
Well, is this the one that there was rumors of Christopher Walken being in it and
Yes.
it being for TV?
Yeah, they were going to make it
Now,
for
remember
TV.
Christopher
No.
Walken in the 80s?
No.
My
Not
mother, I
in
had
it.
to poison her. She dropped me nuts. Do you want room 1 or 4?
Oh my God. So that was magical. Thank you, John.
I make a peephole to look at your boobs.
See,
Wow.
when we record, y'all miss so
Wow,
much
look
in
at
real
those
time.
Look
It's
at those
perfect.
glands. So good.
Okay.
I'm
Grab
gonna
the loop.
So
I'm gonna
anyway,
stab ya in
Anyway,
the
so
shower.
Psycho 2. I mean, not to be overly obvious.
Stab. We go, boobs, stab.
Are you almost done?
Maybe.
Almost done? You weirdo. Okay. Anyway, I think the biggest, most stark contrast for the sequel as opposed to the first one, obviously this one's in color. It is the year of our Lord, 1982. Yes, 82. It is 82. Hitchcock died in 1980. What I thought was really interesting, so we talked about Robert Bloch, who is the author of the first Psycho. He wrote a second Psycho. You guys need to check out the cover to it. It's like paper dolls of like clothes. Oh, look, people looking it up. I love it.
You guys are
so
all popping the phones out. Let me check
and it makes
the
me
show.
real
All
fucking
57.
happy. It's like paper doll outfits. All 57 of you are on your phones. It's so nice. But so the second novel that Robert Bloch wrote is very, very different from the way that the movie ended out. The novel's very different because it was a major satirization of Hollywood, because the whole idea is that Norman escapes the mental institution and they're making a movie about, you know, the whole events of, you know, kind of like Scream and Stab, you know what I mean?
Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back meets Scream 3.
He's the pitch king, isn't he? The pitch king. It's seriously.
It's true.
So that's what the book was going to be about, but it satirized Hollywood and was not very kind about Hollywood. So Universal was like, "No, we don't like that."
But
so they decided to change it.
We're great.
But they changed it. It satirized both Hollywood and slashers, and Universal's like, "No, we don't like that."
It was a little too early for that.
So, so the assistant director from Psycho, Hilton A. Green, was asked to direct, and he was not sure. I don't know. He was like, "I don't know. Should I do this? Should I not? Whatever." And so he called Hitchcock's daughter, Patricia, I believe, and asked her what she thought, and she was like, "My dad would have loved this. Go forth."
I have a feeling he wouldn't.
I think Hitchcock loved attention. I mean, he would have wanted to
he
direct
liked attention and he liked money.
But he loved it.
Hey, look, we'll give you $10,000 if you say your dad would have loved this, so we can publish it later.
Ew,
okay, great,
that's so
sweet.
Gross.
That's what they did with James
that.
Cameron with Terminator Genesis. Hey, that looks kind of crappy. Hey, James, we'll give you $100,000 if you say it's like the best one since Terminator 2. Okay, sweet.
You guys
Avatars
are in for the
ain't
new
gonna
one,
fund
right?
themselves.
The new Terminator, we're in. Are we all in? Are we doing it?
Dark Fate.
I want to do it.
No, I can't subject myself.
I will
fuck
see
you.
every Terminator
Let's do it.
movie they ever make.
You and me. I even like Genesis.
What?
I guess I shouldn't be on this podcast.
You mean Sega Genesis?
No,
You didn't
what?
like the Terminator Genesis.
You didn't like
You like Sega
Did you
Genesis?
like Terminator
Oh my
Genesis?
God, apparently we're going to fight in the alley later. Okay, fuck. Anyway, so, hey, these can come off
Stabby,
real
cut.
easily. Do it. I dare you. I dare you. But yeah, so that was the whole thing with the directing of the film. I don't know. I feel like Patricia Hitchcock was like, my dad loved attention, so whatever. But it's interesting. As John said,
food.
Anthony Perkins, he almost wasn't in it, but he has aged very gently. And
Yes.
I mean, it's 22 years, right? Like, that's a long time. And
It
he still
is.
has like baby butt face. That's what you're going to look like 20 years from now. You're still going to look
I don't
like
know.
a
I'm gonna have gray
baby.
hair.
But like that baby face of yours is still going to be there though, because you look young. So that's kind of how it works. And they also got Vera Miles to come back for this film to play the same character of Lila.
Annoying.
And she is
And-
not happy that Norman's getting out.
No, she's not excited about it. It's true. John, do you want to break down the plot a little bit for us? I feel like we should start doing broader strokes, maybe kind of
I don't. There's not a
moving
whole
through
lot.
the rest of the franchise.
Not a whole lot with the sequels.
Well, a quick note. A lot
Listen,
of people.
I like this one.
A lot of people like this one more than the original,
Ew.
including
Okay, no, fuck that.
including Stephen King,
What?
Quentin Tarantino,
What?
and friend of the show Travis Ayers.
Wait, Travis
What?
likes this
Travis?
more? Travis,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Travis, you have to tell me everything.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I won't say I like it more than the first Psycho,
No,
but
God, no.
I do like this movie. I think it has more
It's
heart. I think the
decent as a
tension
sequel.
is interesting because basically what happens is
Brian
a
looks
bunch
like
of
he's smelling
shit.
farts right
A bunch of shit goes down, and we don't have to describe what he looks like though, because people can see him. But
No,
what
that's
happens, just in broad strokes, is that Norman gets out of the facility he was in, and
deemed legally sane.
he's fine. He goes back to the Bates Motel. I'm not sure that the most rehabilitative thing
Where he
for
did all the
him
murders?
is to go back to where he was like
He
killing
killed
a
his
bit,
mom.
right?
He
Kill a
killed two
woman.
people 20 years ago.
What are you gonna do?
But, hey,
anyway,
we had the set.
we had this.
We had this
Oh my
set.
God, you're incredible.
And the thing is, everybody in the town is perfectly okay with him. The chief of police.
They're like, well, Norman paid his debt.
Hey, be nice to Norman. He's
Sure.
a nice guy. He's a
Sure.
good dude.
He's a
a
good
good
guy.
boy.
He slipped up a little 20 years ago and killed a couple bitches. But you know what? He's a nice fella.
Wow, you're the
Let me tell you,
worst.
he never is late at the diner.
You're the worst. Well, yeah.
What,
so
the
he's-
one day he worked there? Yeah, he was never late the one day he worked there.
Anyway, let's get on topic. So he's supposed to be really rehabilitated or whatever. Don't scratch it; it'll be worse. Oh, come on.
The illusion is being broken
All
right now.
There you go. So, but it's I'm just helping you.
That's
now.
making it worse.
Oh, okay, just kidding. But
it's
anyway,
like there's bees on my head.
He's supposed to be rehabilitated, but then like some murdering starts up again, and I think it's an interesting tension point of where he's like, "Did I do this or did I not?" You know.
Right.
Spoiler alert: we're going to be talking about Candyman in the next couple of weeks, and John and I just watched it, and I feel like it's very similar. Where you're like, "Did she do this? Did he do? What's going on?" And Tony Todd's kind of hot in that movie. I'm confused. Anyway. But so in this one, I think that the inner turmoil of like man versus himself is very present, and I find that to be interesting. And they've done a lot of the shots and whatnot that are kind of similar. We get that bird's eye view at the very end again, and I think that the scenes with him and Mary are actually pretty nice. Like
Mary is the heroine of the film. She works with Norman at the diner, and so does a little old lady. Who you're like, why is this movie paying so much attention to this little
Is her name
old lady?
Booth? I can't remember.
Yeah. And she's like, hi, Norman, I've worked here for years.
I'm
and
old as fuck.
He's like, okay, cool. She's like, I'll be more important later in the movie. Goodbye.
Okay, see you later. Dennis Franz is in this. Dennis
and
Franz.
he's running the hotel. He's like, look, you creepy douchebag. I'm running this place since you left, and I know what people want. They want quick rooms for quick shags and quick coke.
Yeah, man, he's made it a sex hotel.
Yeah, a sextel.
Hotel.
The kind of place that says hourly rates, VCRs in room.
Do you remember
rubber sheets?
No, do you remember the place we found in Erie? What did the sign say? We found this place in Erie.
That said those three things.
No, it didn't say rubber sheets.
Rubber gerbils.
It said, hourly rates, HBO, no questions asked.
Was that did you really find that?
Yeah.
No, I wish. I would. Not no questions asked, but it did say hourly rates.
It said
HBO.
VCRs in like 2015.
It's true. It said VCRs
for all
and
those
HBO.
weirdos that have a huge VHS like porn collection that they don't want to update. They can pop in a tape while they're getting nasty.
John, those tapes were like $20 a pop. Like they're not gonna upgrade to DVD. Yeah. I mean, they're waiting for 4K because you have to wait the couple generations, man.
But Norman's love interest in this movie, by the way, every movie there's some woman that wants him.
Right? Like
so weird.
He's like a lady magnet. Like I guess that dick is just magnetic. God damn.
It's his cheese sandwiches.
Yeah.
God damn. You want a cheese
it's
sandwich?
his warm buttermilk.
Is it fucking ribbed for your pleasure?
Squire
like,
you
fuck,
with my cheese sandwiches.
Come to my back room with my dead animals.
Right?
Where we will eat cheese on bread.
Oh my God.
Like you're 4.
Look at my dick and I have candy corn.
Here. Do you want some candy corn? Just dig in there.
What is so wrong?
Do you want some candy corn?
Wrong.
Hey, this one ate my candy corn.
You're the worst.
They originally,
so
from the actress, they wanted Jamie Lee Curtis in this, which I thought would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Jamie Lee, where's her bra?
I don't know. Jamie Lee, where's her bra? I don't know. Headlights.
Anyways, so they ended up not being
only
able to
the old
cast
people
her.
know that one.
From Saturday Night Live, the
Spartan Chick.
Yeah.
Jess knows.
Yeah, thank you, Jess.
She knows.
But I thought that would have been cool. But I think she didn't want to be any more typecast as a screen queen than she already was.
Yeah, she had done at that point like what?
Yeah.
Has she done Prom Night yet?
Prom Night, yep.
Yeah.
And Halloween 2, and other,
It's so funny. I think that you can really see the resemblance in that one scene of Janet Leigh. They do like a still frame of her just screaming. And I think it's really interesting because I think you can really tell the resemblance between her and Jamie Lee. I think that's really interesting.
Guys, so my stepson Connor is on here. He should not be watching this at all.
Oh no, he liked the show.
No,
and
he should not be on this because he is 11 years old. So get off.
Hi, Connor. We're saying bad words, so please go to bed so your mom doesn't yell at us. Thanks, buddy.
He said, "Stop drinking, Brian."
Yep. Oh no, he said hi too. He said hi. I liked the hi. Oh yeah. Yeah, no.
Get off the street.
Thank you.
But Meg Tilly was cast, and she did not get to watch a lot of television growing up.
Yeah, well, she didn't know much about pop culture at all, so she didn't know what the big hairy deal about the sequel was.
Yeah,
I think that's fascinating.
And she was like, "Why is everybody paying so much attention to Tony And and he was super pissed about this because he's like, this fucking movie doesn't exist.
And by
without
Tony
me.
John means Anthony Perkins.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're on a nickname basis.
Friend of the show. He died years before we started.
He died years before we were born.
Yeah,
probably. No, probably.
No. He was alive.
We were about 5 years.
We were alive at the same time. It's fine.
But yeah, and then he just was a dick to her for the rest of the shoot.
Really?
Right. Well, he tried to get her fired, even though she'd shot like half of her stuff already.
Wow.
Yeah,
Dude,
hey.
I'm like watching my language now because of Connor.
He should get off the stream.
If you watch the first Psycho, you can stay, Connor. If you watch a full-length black and white movie, Connor, you can stay.
Watch Citizen Kane.
Tell me about it later.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's probably like, oh my God. Anyway, so like you were saying with, go ahead.
Well, and then
With the things.
Meg Tilly, was that her name? Meg? Is her name Meg?
deaths start to happen. Yes,
Meg.
Deaths start to happen. Norman wonders, was it me? Because like you see, and this is always a giveaway, you see like the dress and the feet,
Yes.
but no face, and you're like, And anytime in a movie when somebody dies off screen, they're not dead.
Oh yeah, if you don't see a body, nope.
That's-
I want in a movie. I want the coroner's
Those are
report,
diehard
or
rules
I'm
right
not
there.
going to believe it.
So if it's Norman doing this, why didn't they show us him in the dress? Why did they not show his face? And then, of course, there's two kids because you need people to die who are like, hey, let's go make out in this creepy house's basement that's covered in mildew and coal.
And again, that like kind of puritanical
like a blanket
idea.
down.
We see
And
that.
then, of course, he's like, I have some cheese sandwiches.
I mean, we see that in Halloween, where like if you touch parts, you're gonna get your parts whacked. I mean, whatever.
Well, in fairness, in
whacked
this
and
movie,
whacked.
why else would people go into this house unless they want to like get it on?
I think to scare themselves. I mean, I think that nowadays that's what it would be. Honestly, like,
Yeah.
have you heard about this house? It's creepy. Let's do it.
Basically, we had
It's
a quota.
creepy. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You act like you don't even want to do it.
Yeah, come on, babe. You act
Come
like
on.
you don't want to do it.
Come on, babe.
But we had a quota of people to kill. So Faceless Mother again kills these two people.
Bro, you need some murder in your murder movie, okay? I don't know
And I
why
gotta
this
say,
is
like-
This came out in 82, right at
Right.
the heart of the slasher genre, where like Jason kills 35 people a movie. I don't know why they, Universal's like, what do we got to cash in on this? Well, we have Psycho. Okay, but that he can't go around just killing 50 people a movie. So there's no way to make that work. Yeah.
He's not
No,
like
yeah.
And
Sure.
a guy who's conflicted
Yeah.
about murdering.
Well, too, I do like that this isn't such a like slaughter fest, right? Like, because we don't know who's the killer.
Gore in
at
this is pretty
first.
good. I'll give you that.
We
not bad.
There's
Not
there's
bad.
different things going on. So
The cast is good. It got Logia. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
Robert Loggia.
Yeah, right.
you know you got a good movie when you got Logia.
So I guess let's just kind of give it away. So Lila is kind of like pulling the strings behind the scenes. She's the one pretending to be mother because and I like that she's not just fucking with Norman. And again, Connor, I really hope you're in bed. I like that she's not just like messing with him, but she's trying to make him crazy again so that he goes back into the facility because she's mad about what happened to her sister. So at least there's a reason. I see you looking dubious, Eric, but like I like that there's
You're
a
looking
motivation
dubious.
because I feel like if that movie was made today, she would have just done it for shits. There wasn't. I feel like there wouldn't be a real reason, but she's the one acting as mother. So then we're like, wait
Not
a minute,
the only one.
who's killing everybody?
Yeah. Because they just wanted to make him feel unstable. They weren't actually killing anybody. And then
Because Mary starts to fall for him. Mary was in cahoots with Lila, and she starts to fall in love with Norman and is like, I feel bad about duping
We
the
shouldn't
guy.
be like making this person go crazy.
Maybe.
And we shouldn't do that. That'd be a
Maybe.
bad thing.
But at least that also explains why, somebody who hears, oh, hey, that guy, he was in an insane asylum for 20 years because he killed a bunch of people. She's like, oh, he's so hot. He's in here chopping lettuce because it's the only job he can get out of prison. Like, she's trying to manipulate
Listen,
him.
the heart wants what the heart wants, okay? And if you had killed some people, I still would want to put a ring on it. Look at him. Just look at him.
Nah, you're like, not so much.
My God, you're so upsetting.
But
I always call you my first husband.
oh, thank you. But, and then we find out that the real person killing everybody was the old lady in the diner.
Oh my God. And then we get to my favorite part of the whole fucking movie. Yeah. So she's like, I was mentally ill. I was in a facility. I gave you to my sister who ended up being, Mama Bates or whatever. My favorite part.
How convenient.
Take that original movie.
My favorite. So she comes in to tell him all this, and he's made like tea and like stuff.
Cheese
because
sandwiches.
He thinks Mother's back.
Yeah.
So he's made his famous candy corn grilled cheese for two, and he's set the table and everything. And she tells him this whole deal where, I'm actually your mother. I gave you to my sister because I was unwell and blah, blah, blah. And like, that should be enough. But so he poisoned the tea, which was what he did.
Which is all he needed to do.
That's all he needed to do.
He takes a shovel
literally
and cracks her on the back of the head, and it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Because it's like bird's eye view, and you just see her
chair collapses.
And for some reason, she's like a seizure on the floor. She's like just like shaking on the floor for no reason.
That was sensitive.
And like, no, it was a seizure. I'm not trying to be insensitive. It was like her approximation of a seizure where she's like shaking and stuff. It was crazy. But what made me laugh about it is just like, dude, you already killed her. Like, that's literally the definition of overkill.
A little bit.
You killed too much.
He just leads the shot, comes back, shoots her in the head.
You only needed a little murder, not a whole lot of murder. You like the ratio of murder.
This much murder
is just a little bit.
A little bit of murder.
You didn't need to do the neighbor from Home Alone, knocking the wet bandits on the head. Let's get out of here, Kevin.
But then we get that bird's eye view shot again. And they recreated like all the sets and everything. I think they were able to. The house was still intact for exteriors, but they had to recreate the hotel and they had to recreate the interiors. But then we get that bird's eye view again of him carrying Mother, to like her room or whatever. Which I just feel like, how did Lila know what Mother's room looked like in such excruciating detail for her to redo it?
Yeah, because I don't think she never made it up to that room in the original.
Maybe
she was
she
going
like,
up that way, but then
visited?
saw somebody coming and went to the basement.
I mean, maybe she just visited? I don't know. Anyway, not my biz. But anyways.
Not my job, not my prop.
But anyway, so we went and they go and you see that thing and then, you see like Mother and like how she starts taking over again and like, you better open that hotel back up, or motel back up, what do you think? We're made of money. You're going to go in.
It's like, well, we would have had money.
What do you think? I made of money, Norman. Open the
No,
hotel.
no, Mother. And he goes, and so like, that's the thing.
I don't let any women in who are 50% of the population.
But yeah, him cracking an old woman over the head with a shovel is just
see
the
one
most
version
amazing
where there's
thing
like
I've
a
ever
bonk,
seen.
like bonk. Do 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 do. And then a Looney Tunes
So
thing
perfect.
comes
So perfect. So that's the second. Except for I think the end is bananas. At number one, I think the twist is kind of dumb.
I never.
And then number
the twist
two,
is
the way
great,
they
though.
handle it with him and the shovel, while entertaining, not how I wanted the movie to go. I really like the movie up to that point, and a lot of people do like it better.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. It's different.
Right.
And he's
Well,
being
because-
framed. the
Yeah,
whole time.
and too, like he's vulnerable. And he really wants to do better. Like, I feel like we see for the first time his own motivations. Like, he doesn't want to be the murderer. He doesn't want to have killed these people. He's trying to, the bastard's just trying to run his goddamn motel, y'all. Like, he's
I don't know.
just trying to do a
There's just
thing.
something. I guess for me, like, there's just something off about this movie. Like, I guess for me, it's a matter of like. You're
Anthony
trying
Perkins
to live
acts
up.
the shit out of it.
What was
though.
that?
Anthony Perkins acts the shit.
No, I'm not.
out
I
of
would
it.
never criticize Anthony
good.
Perkins' performance. And honestly,
the shoulder pads. It's all the shoulder pads.
In every sequel of this that he's in, so like this Psycho 3 and then Psycho 4, the beginning, he has the best part of those films.
Mm-hmm.
No one can
Always.
take that away from him. But I
Always.
guess for me, like it just feels hollow. It's like I feel like I'm going in there expecting Norman Bates to be like the murderer again because that's what I
Universal
saw.
wanted to make a slasher
And
movie.
I'm
This is
like-
all they
I'm
own.
like, I watched it and I'm
you
just
mean
like,
that scene when Mary's in bed and he's like crying at her bedside and she holds him? You feel nothing?
No, I feel stuff. It's a
kind of
Psycho
stuff?
movie, and it's just not. It's just it doesn't
I don't know.
fit. It just
I just
feels,
think this is such
it
a
feels
beautiful.
empty.
I feel like this
you
is a
know?
beautiful portrait
Okay.
Well, guys,
of Norman.
Sam Loomis was supposed to return in this movie, but John Gavin was serving as an American ambassador to Mexico.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
man, he
So
was busy.
they
He was
wrote him
busy.
out
Might
of
be
it.
a little
He was
bit busy.
And Lane, you were right. Just like with the first film, him hitting Mrs. Poole with the shovel was not given to the cast and crew. Was only given to people when it was needed to be shot.
Right, because
the shovel was Anthony's idea.
Really? I didn't know that.
He was supposed to stab her. It was too
Stabby,
obvious.
cut.
Yeah, because I think the last page of the script said something like, this page will be distributed to the pertinent people or something like that, like real cryptic,
and
so that people couldn't see it.
This movie has the most incompetent police force I've ever seen in my life.
Listen.
Hey, there are some people missing up near the Bates Motel right after Norman's been released. Take it easy on Norman. Would you relax? He's just trying to run a hotel. No, like 3 people have died up there and they didn't come back. He's fine. You're crazy.
Yes.
They are the most incompetent police force I've ever seen.
It's a town. It's not just that.
As sequels go, I think this could have been a lot worse.
Oh, I think it could
And
have
it
been
will
way
be.
worse.
It's called Psycho 3.
I think with Psycho 3 and 4, you got to kind of like glaze through these ones.
I see some benefits of Psycho 4, but we'll get there.
Guys, Psycho 3 comes out the gate fighting.
It comes out hot.
Literally, black screen. There is no God.
We got nuns trying to kill themselves, everybody.
It's echoing, and I'm like, holy shit, this fell's wasting no time.
Buckle
So
up, y'all.
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you saw that for the first time, did you think, what movie did I just
rented
put
the
in?
wrong tape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
I watched it.
No, when I went to look for it, when I went on Amazon, I was like, did I fucking click the wrong
That's
thing?
what
I was like,
honestly, the same thing happened to me.
what's going on? I was
I'm like,
upset. I was
what
worried.
the hell movie did I get?
was like,
did
well,
I get
I was like,
Last
I'm
Temptation
kind of
of
in at
Christ
this point.
instead?
I was
And
like,
I don't
what's
like
going on?
sad nuns. I like fun nuns.
Fun nuns.
Sister Act nuns.
Back in the habit.
Nundercover. Yeah.
Undercover.
Yeah, and it starts off with this nun basically saying there's no God, that she is renouncing her faith, that she runs up to a clock tower. Somebody tries to stop, one of the nuns tries to stop her. She falls to her death and they're like, you killed her, you'll burn in hell. And I'm like,
I feel like
is this a Psycho movie?
Wait, no, I feel like you glossed over that too fast.
Oh.
So nun number 1
We're already like
is
an
trying
hour.
to kill herself.
Yeah.
Nun number 2 comes up to stop her. Nun number 1 accidentally pushes nun number 2 down. Did y'all get that? Because you went through that really fast.
Went through that pretty fast.
And she's like, oh, fuck, I need to get out of here. I'm gonna...
I'm not a nun anymore.
Yeah,
Bye.
I'm gonna like head across country and I'm gonna get a ride from Duke.
Oh,
Jeff Fahey.
he has been doing his Duke imitation for
Duke.
2 days.
I gotta get more teeth.
Duke. I'm a rock star. Rock star.
Don't touch the guitar.
Don't touch the guitar. I'm a rock
My
star.
friends call me Duke. Yeah, and it gets to be
In a couple of years, he'll be known as the Lawnmower Man. Okay, that's what he's going to be.
Yeah, and it gets too rainy, and so they just pull over for the night. And while she's asleep, he puts a flashlight under her dress.
Yeah, like you do.
It's just Duke, the lovable piece of shit.
And
okay?
then he tries to force himself on her. When she says no, he pushes her out of the car and says, "Hey, bitch, you could have been coming instead of going," and drives off, leaving a woman in a rainstorm.
Yeah.
By the way, Anthony Perkins directed this movie.
Did.
That was his.
He did.
Yeah, this is his rule for coming back. He said, "I'll make a third one if you let me direct." And nobody.
That's fair. I don't
that's
know.
fair.
You look incredulous, Jess. Oh, yeah. Let's. Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. We can stick there.
He
That's
didn't
fine.
write it.
Yeah.
But like he was complicit. Okay.
But he was complicit, yes.
Well, the thing is, he loved Blood
I'm upset
Simple
too.
by the Coen brothers,
Hate
so
it
that
a
was
lot.
like a big
Yeah.
influence for him. He did not feel up to the task to directing. He felt very insecure about it. He asked the director from the second movie to come and kind of be an assistant director, but he said, "No, Tony, do it yourself." And
He's like, I've been
the
on
D-
2 of these.
The DP
Fuck
was
you.
an asshole and was like, "Hey, how do you really think we'll do that shot?" And he had done his homework. He's like, "Well, I think if we use this camera with this kind of lens, and then what we do is we make sure the lights are posed here." And the guy never questioned him again because he schooled him at that
Get
moment.
it, Anthony Perkins.
And everybody said it was really nice working with him. I've heard some horror stories about working with Anthony Perkins, but people said as a director,
right.
he was great.
Him as an actor, kind of a pain in the ass. Him as a
And-
director.
This was back when they had, because it was Universal Studios Florida that they shot this at, and it was back when they had the tram tours.
Oh, okay.
And every single time the tours came by and they were shooting, Anthony Perkins would stop by and go, oh, hey, everybody, don't go in the shower. And then they would leave, and they would be like, wow. And they stop production every time they come by. And he's like, the only reason that I'm here directing this movie and being here is because I got to be in the first Psycho film.
I love that.
And it's, and if it wasn't for that, nobody would give a shit that I'm here making a movie.
I love that. That's wonderful.
It's absolutely true.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Anyways, Duke kicks her out. He ends up at the base motel. It's almost like
we've got to
magnet
mention
for
that
people.
Maureen is played by Diana Scarweld, who you might remember from Mommy Dearest.
Shit.
Check the archives for that one.
She played what's her face? Forgetting that she was the daughter.
Oh
Right,
yes,
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was.
amazing.
But yeah, Duke ends up. He gets a side job working at the Bates
Christina
Motel.
Crawford. That's it.
And then finally, after probably walking for 3 days, our lead heroine gets to the
Could
town
have died
as well.
of
Yeah.
thirst and starvation. But
And
hey,
stops,
you know what?
And stops at the diner, and there's a little snoopy news reporter there who's like, "Hey, I think this Norman guy's unstable." And it'll this is supposed to be like 2 weeks after Psycho 2, by the way. And they're like, once again, they're like, leave Norman alone. Sure, a few other people
So wait,
died up there.
He's gonna go back to killing, but he hasn't been like caught with anything
Right,
yet.
yeah,
right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but
and,
she
and,
thinks
and he has mummified mother.
Yes, again.
You know, of like the old lady from the diner who's just like real mad.
Yeah.
All right. Broader strokes. Broader strokes. Because then we got to talk about Psycho 4, and these lovely people would like to go home. All right. That's all right.
But and it leads to Duke's working there, and then she comes and she ends up becoming Norman's new love interest because everybody loves Norman.
Yeah, everybody
loves Norman. Don't take a shower. My brother's very tall.
But and it leads to them having a love affair, and then more people start dying, and this time it is Norman. And there are very cool subtle hints in the movie where the room's supposed to be $20. Duke charges our lead actress $25, and he folds the five, folds a corner, puts it in his pocket. Later in the movie, when the world's weirdest sex scene happens, and he kicks the lady out of her room, he goes, "Hey, here's some cab fare," and throws the $5 with the corner.
It came around.
Yeah, and when Norman kills her because she's he ends up putting the $5 back in the cash register, and Duke sees the corner, and he heard the night before him and his mother yelling upstairs, and he starts to piece together that Norman's not all there.
Yeah.
And then of course the football team comes to town, of
course,
and and all the people were there, and there's a woman that needs to use the bathroom, so she goes into the main office and gets her throat cut, because we need another murder.
Yeah.
And so it gets to the point where the police come out because people are missing again. And they go, "Hey, Norman,
you've been killing people again.
Norm, we need to go check upstairs." And he's like, "Dude, fuck you do." And they go up, and Mom's not there. And he's like, I knew that. No problem here. No problem here. And he's like, and he sees the note saying, "Hey, Norm, Mom, come find me in room 12. And it's Duke who kidnapped Mom's corpse, and he's high on drugs, and he's like, "I'm gonna bribe and this place has no money," but he's like, "I want all your money from your non-existent, unfunctioning hotel.
I want your money,
your motel
your
that
candy
makes
corn, and
$0
cheese sandwiches.
eventually.
Get me your buttermilk, you son of a bitch." And your liverwurst.
They're not buttermilk rich. Get out of here.
And
I want your old 60s foods.
And he ends up killing Duke, and then the news reporter lady who has been trying to find out the old lady that died at the end of Psycho 2. She finds out the last phone call she made was to the Bates Motel. She's basically got Norman cornered. Mm-hmm. She comes to the house, Norman's mother again, and chasing her around the house.
Right.
And this is one of the first times outside of the ending of the first movie, you actually see Norman as mother in the outfit.
Right. In the outfit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, your leg is so hot. Shit.
Thank you.
You poor thing.
Your leg's hot too.
Cheers.
But and then it leads to him getting caught, and and the sheriff seems so sad. He's like, You're gonna go away forever this time, Sonny.
He was rooting
Darn
for
it!
him.
I had high hopes on you, little man.
He's just mad he lost the police station pool, okay?
Yeah.
He had like a bet on how long it would take, and he lost.
And of course, once again, he's incompetent in this one because one of the ladies that Norman kills, he puts in the ice machine, and it's open and the guy's like talking to everybody. He's like, Norman's a good guy. And he's grabbing ice and he's almost grabbing the blood ice and putting it in his mouth. And Norman's like,
oh my God.
Please don't turn your head.
So good.
The actress was actually put in ice, by the way.
Oh,
and
really?
He said, you'll only be in there for like 30 seconds. And as soon as he put her in there, he closed the lid. He's action. And she was in there for like 20 minutes. She's like, my body looks blue in that movie. That's not makeup.
Not cool, bro. Not cool, bro.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, Norman goes back to jail, and at the end of the movie, because he had killed the reporter lady. Ow!
That's not your hair. It's the wig.
He's holding her hand in his jacket and like stroking it like a cat.
Oh.
And it's like, okay, did they not frisk him before they put him in the police squad car?
Listen, there's a lot of things in horror movies that aren't real. I mean...
And he looks at the camera like the first one, and they never made a Psycho movie again. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
4? Oh my God. Okay, so Psycho 4 is so 90s. It hurts me physically.
It is very 90s.
I've been watching 90s movies lately because of, the show. And I swear to Jesus, everybody smoked in 1992. There wasn't a single person that didn't fucking smoke except for me because I was in the second fucking grade.
Because of the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Though I was lookout once.
Really?
For someone who smoked.
Badass.
Badass.
It was.
But yeah, Joseph Stefano
Just like
returns
Willow.
to write this film.
Why?
And I don't understand it because this is written by a clown.
Money's green, guys. I don't know what the problem is.
This is horrible because this is how you don't write a movie. You're told something and then you're shown it, but you don't feel it because there's no development. He goes, well, he's on the phone with a radio station. He goes, my mother was crazy. And then cut to his mom. Oh, well, I was just told she's crazy, and there it was.
There she be.
I mean,
yep.
Here's the thing.
It's almost like a clip show. I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I love Mick Garris as a director. I like a lot of his stuff. I mean, he's kind of known as the TV movie horror guy.
But he can't direct for shit unless you want a boring, stagnant shot and then close up.
Oh, come on. I like Sleepwalkers is a good film. He did Sleepwalkers.
Yeah, it might be an okay film, but it's not his direction.
Well, I'm just saying. I like Mick Garris' stuff. I like Masters of Horror. So I got to give him that. But he's kind of formulaic. I think that's what you're looking at, is formulaic when it comes with the TV horror stuff.
Well,
right.
With this film, the idea is that it ignores 2 and 3. So it would be 4, like the Halloween remake that came out that ignored everything but 2, and the new Terminator movie that ignores everything after Terminator 2.
Right. We assume that OG Mama is his mama.
So this is ignoring 2 and 3, which, by the way, 3 also discredited the whole "you were adopted by your aunt" nonsense. They hated that even by the 3rd one. But he's calling into a radio station because it's men who kill their moms, which is an interesting topic for a radio.
And it's weird that they have like a mom killer on the show, and he's not in like fucking shackles. Like, shouldn't you be in jail for that shit?
And the thing is, he's not even remorseful. He's like, yeah. That bitch had it coming.
No, and then his grandfather on that side's on the show with him.
Yeah,
he was like, she was a bitch.
You know who he's supposed to be, right? He's supposed to be the guy from the end of Psycho. Let me tell you something about Norman's.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Supposed to be him.
Yeah, that's supposed to be that guy.
Oh my God! Yeah. But yeah,
cigarette smoking.
He's like, she was a bitch to the core, and she deserved a good whacking.
Nice show. This is made for Showtime, by the way.
It was,
and this was also one of those movies that was like, where the tram came by and was watching it be made and everything. And he calls in and he pretends to be, his name is Earl Robert Bloch, which is the author of the book.
Wait, who calls in?
Norman.
I thought he calls himself Ed in the beginning.
Yeah, Ed Robert Bloch.
Yeah.
Whew, he like blew my mind.
Sorry.
We think Ed maybe as an homage to Ed Gein, but that hasn't been substantiated.
And he starts talking about his childhood. So it's a prequel movie where we get, a flashback to the thing. But as I said, the problem is that it's that short film technique where you have somebody kind of narrating something and you show it. I know because I've done this a whole lot of times, because you only have 20-some minutes to get the story across. So you kind of need to tell the audience and then show them. But when this movie is like 90 minutes long, you don't have to do that. It's like, she wanted to have sex with me. And then it cuts to this young girl. I want to have sex with you, Norman. He's like, my mother wasn't happy about this. I'm not happy, Norman.
It's funny, but it is kind of like that.
It's very true.
I like that her standards of the girl, if I may, just really quick, where he like suggests that they copulate on the floor.
She is the horniest person
She's like, what
I've ever
kind of
seen.
girl do you think I am? I'm like, well, you're ready to jump his bones, sweetheart. Like, is the floor really so bad?
You know, like Christmas when you buy that giant bone for your dog and he sits there and he's looking up at you and he knows he's supposed to be a good boy and just stay still. That was her face. Like, she wants that Norman
But it's only Henry Thomas.
Well, I mean, it's not.
It's Elliot from fucking E.T.
She wants Master Bates.
She wants that Christmas. She wants that Christmas bone.
But you know and the mom, you know, the big role of mother was played by Olivia Hussey, who could not be any more terrible. Was she supposed to have an English accent?
That was so wrong.
Norman, you dirty boy.
Was she the one where they offered her the role and she was like, "Fuck yes, done."
Yeah, they did. They stopped auditioning because you mean the chick from Romeo and Juliet that showed her BBs?
Yeah. She
Black
was like,
Christmas?
"Yep."
Yeah.
She was like,
Yeah.
"Yep." She's like, "Done. I'm in.
Yeah.
It's fine."
And this film is an absolute joke. And we find out, long story short, with all these flashbacks, it's just to find out how mother drove him insane and how he ended up poisoning her. And it's just so cliched. You don't get any sense of
Also, mother was sort of like creepy.
Yeah.
Like,
and all we saw was mom being creepy. Like, you know, if you saw her as an actual person, you could build a story.
A little inappropriate.
Yeah. My mom was inappropriate with me. Then something inappropriate, you know. And then she told me she would cut off my wiener. I'll cut off your wiener.
She literally said, I'll cut off your wiener.
Yeah.
When they do that thing, like, remember the time that this specific thing happened and then they cut to it?
Family Guy.
This movie's kind of like
It's
that.
Family Guy.
It's basically Family Guy. You think that's bad? My mom tried to cut off my wiener.
I'm going to get off your wiener, Peter.
You think that's bad? She tried to have sex with me at a thunderstorm.
I'm going to have sex with you in a thunderstorm, Peter. Like,
That had to be a weird.
I mean,
Oh, man.
literally
That
how
was-
it works.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is the first time like incest is implied.
Yes.
Even though
Because
I mean,
it never
it's a theme that comes
really
up
was
later.
implied.
No.
In
It's just
the
that she
other
was
sequels.
emotionally,
Yes.
possibly
Domineering.
physically
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But not like.
But here they were like,
Yeah.
let's up the ick factor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, let's make it yuckier.
Which original screenwriter, guys. But you know, the reason that Norman is calling in and he eventually reveals himself to be Norman Bates on the phone is that he's gotten a woman pregnant now. He's probably 60.
It's his wife.
He's 60
Yeah,
years
well, he's
old.
gotten his wife pregnant.
And it's
who's
his
also,
birthday.
And also a psychiatrist. She's also a psychiatrist,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Once again, everybody needs that Normandy. Normandy.
Normandy.
They want to crash that beach.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
That's a thing he said, everyone, just in case you wondered.
But yeah, and she's coming home and he wants to kill her because he said, like, we can't have kids because I'm sure that it's biological and that the kid's going to be a murderer too. Just like me.
Right.
And, you know, and they're like, no, Norm, don't kill her. Why don't you stay on the line and we'll maybe send some police where you're at. And he's like, nah, can't help you. Sorry. And it's like, I'm going back to my mom's house.
Wow.
And
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And she meets him there. And then we get back more into real time.
Right.
And he's threatening to kill her. And she's like, I don't believe you'll kill me. You're so sexy with that knife to my throat. Yeah, I love you. And he's like, no, I want you to die. And she's like, no, you a second chance. Well, my baby's inside you. You know, it's fine. And being a little bit glib, but that's basically she's okay with him
he's not
cornering her with a knife.
Yeah.
And he decides, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I got an idea. Well, get out of the house. I'm going to grab some gasoline and burn this fucker down. And he burns down the Bates house. And while he's doing it, he's having flashbacks of characters that we saw in the movie.
He gets like all the ghosts of, so like the, you know, the horny
but just
chick.
the ones in
Like an
that movie.
exorcism by
Not
fire,
anybody
really.
else in the franchise.
horny chick, the
douchebag boyfriend.
douchebag boyfriend,
Yeah.
you know, his mom and all that. You know, they all kind of the ghosts of Christmas past.
Yeah.
They all come back, but like,
Holiday film.
And Norm burns down the place and he's sitting in the grass. He's like, you know what? I think I'm ready to be a dad. And she's like, cool.
Listen, he resisted killing a woman. That's like big for him.
By the way, don't listen to any rebroadcasts of WKRP anytime soon. You don't want to hear it.
Oh my God. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's a mess.
The
And
second
it was
two
the
are hot
reason it was
garbage.
the last one. And honestly,
well, that and he died.
yeah. And then he died. He was diagnosed with HIV while making
Anthony
this film.
Perkins.
And he finished the film. He died shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about it other than to say they made the remake and we're all just going to go, ugh.
Okay, wait, really quick. Just for the history of it, 1998, Gus Van Sant. You guys probably know it as the Vince Vaughn Psycho. The thing that's interesting about it is he kind of Gus Van Sant almost did it as a scientific experiment. He did a shot-for-shot remake. So it is virtually identical to the first one, except for the fapping. And it was a scientific kind of experiment. It was a horrible failure because... Jess, you look confused as to why somebody would do this, and I agree.
For shot.
He wanted to see, I guess, if it would work, if it would make any money, if it would be popular.
I have a theory.
The answer was no and no, because the first time was lightning in a bottle. Hitchcock was a master, and just regurgitating the same stuff, it just didn't work.
I got a theory. This movie was made because people do not want to watch black and white fucking films. That's it.
Wait, what? Say that again?
The remake to Psycho
is in color. Yeah.
Is in color. And the reason why it was made is because people do not want to watch black and white films.
Well, and you need to get that Vince Vaughn magic from Lost
No,
World.
there was no Vince Vaughn magic. It literally was. It was made
He's not
because
great
the
in this.
original wasn't in color.
Bless
That's
him.
the only
He's really not great in
reason
this.
why it was made.
And it's from 1960. That's
Well,
37 years ago.
That's so old, isn't it?
I fell in a rabbit hole, I will admit. But I fell in a rabbit hole of research on this. And so Gus Van Sant wanted to do it like pretty early in his career and had mentioned it, and execs were like, "Wow, that's fucking stupid,"
Stupid.
And so they blocked him on it, and then he kind of gained some more acclaim, and then he became the guy that actors wanted to work with, and so the executives were like, "Well, hey, what do you want to do?" And he's like, "I want to do a Psycho remake," and they were like, "That's still not a great idea," and he was like, "All right," and so then he won all those Academy Awards for Good Will Hunting. And so what happens like before the Academy Awards is they kind of, a lot of deals are signed like right before that time, because then they can promote their next film when they've won and say like, because you're as a filmmaker, you're only as good as your next movie.
It's true.
And so people will be like, oh, well, what are you working on next, Gus? And you can say, I'm working on blank. So he went to, so Universal was like, well, what do you want to do next? And this all went through his agent, and he said, I want to do a color shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. And it just to be ridiculous, because they'd shot it down before. And the word came back. They were like, the studio thinks that's a great idea, Gus. And they greenlit it because he had won the Academy Award for Good Will Hunting. So,
but it's bad.
So I just thought that was funny, because I had read like some retrospective on it, and
it says Psycho in the poster, it'll make money.
And Gus Van Sant seems aware that it was kind of a failure, but the way he speaks about it in interviews is almost like too convenient. Of like, oh, I know it failed. It's fine. It's fine.
Not like how Schumacher apologizes for Batman and Robin.
Fine. It's fine.
But
I thought that was interesting, though, because it was something that he had almost done, he says, as like a science experiment in a laboratory almost. Like that's kind of what he likens it to. But if it had made like a ton of money, he would not be saying that.
Well, guys, final comments or final thoughts and then comments, or comments and final thoughts?
Let's do final thoughts and then comments.
Okay. I would say in a way that the sequels for like Nightmare on Elm Street, what?
Your beer's exploding.
Hello.
Foamy happy.
You trying to get? What do you want? What do you want? Huh? Yeah.
Talking to it like it's our dog.
There it goes. But movies like Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween, where the sequels almost tarnish the original in a way, I don't feel that with Psycho.
No, I don't either. Because I think that the sequels are really obscure.
Yeah.
In a way that they aren't
from the
for
comments
other
that we
franchises.
received, not a lot of people have seen the sequels.
I think they're not
know that they
necessary.
exist.
Have any of you 55 people out there? Have any of you seen the sequel?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
You saw it last night?
Appreciate you.
Thank you. But yeah, and this film is such a masterpiece that I think it stands on its own. And while I think they're interesting, I think that they're worth watching as interesting pieces of history.
Watch the second
filmmaking.
one. That's
Yeah,
not the
I
third.
don't think that they ruin.
And like the fourth
original.
is on YouTube if you are also inclined. It's cropped as shit, but
And it's sped up a little bit, which makes Olivia Hussey's acting even worse. Devin, what are you doing?
Oh no, that woman, that old woman with the squeaky voice and the cake and shit. She's so fast. She sounds like a fucking mouse. It's amazing. It's incredible. I highly recommend.
But Anthony Perkins' acting is so slow, he just sounds normal.
He does. He really does, and he looks good in the '92 version. He looks good for his age.
Well, he's 60 and apparently impregnated a woman.
Well, he's in real life. He's also 60 and dying.
And he does kind of have
Bless him.
the AIDS. So
Poor guy. He looks good though.
HIV. We don't
HIV.
know if he
That's
got
right.
AIDS.
That's right.
Dying.
That's right.
Bless him. Poor thing.
But and I think that the original is a stone cold classic.
This
I
is
can't
one of my
believe it
favorite
took us
movies.
this long to talk about
Can
it.
we be real? This
It's
is
a
one of my favorite
masterpiece, top to bottom. I have no complaints about
This
the
was on my
original.
top 10 of favorite movies of all time when we did that episode. So I mean,
so Lane, what are your thoughts?
I really love the original. So for this episode, that was when I delved into the sequels. I guess it's not good that I thought the fourth one was funny.
No, that's
but
fine.
the second,
It is funny.
I
It is
really
funny.
found a lot to love about the second. Again, the performances I thought were really good, especially from Anthony Perkins in the second. But I mean, this is always going to be one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite movies, not just in the horror genre, but in general, just because the visuals are so rich. And I think I've talked about this on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this almost, I don't know, I'm like ashamed to admit it, but I don't really love black and white movies just because I respond to color so strongly. Usually if a movie's in black and white, it's a little hard for me to connect. It's not like I don't like it, but I have a hard time connecting. And so for this one, this is one of the very few black and white movies that I really enjoy.
Right. So for me, I do get some enjoyment out of Psycho 4. Not gonna lie, it's
A lot
funny.
of people love Psycho.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
That
I
90s
think
kitchen,
I think it's a joke.
that
I think it
Norman's in
is a
makes me
joke.
real
I think it's
happy.
interesting to look at. I have nothing against prequels when they're done to some degree. I think the jumping back and forth thing is, they take it or leave it. I find some enjoyment out of Psycho 4. I really don't get any enjoyment out of Psycho 2 or 3. I find all of the sequels and remakes pointless because, the original, it really is lightning in a bottle and it really does still hold up. It is one of those movies that you're just, that there's no need for any other continuation past where it's at. The story is complete from beginning, middle to end.
It's over. Yeah.
It's over. There's no need for it.
Absolutely.
Where you look at, other franchises like A Nightmare on Elm Street, the Hellraiser 2, like up to maybe 3. There's room for continuation of exploring that world. I really don't see with Psycho any need to explore that world any further, So for me, like the sequels are kind of pointless. I do have, and we didn't mention this because it's not a movie, it's a TV show. I do find some positive things in the Bates Motel series that came out on AMC.
It's a different beast.
A&E a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Because
It's a different
television
beast.
is serialized.
And obviously, like they reimagined it in a way that it's contemporary, so that is a different thing.
Which is strange.
It's
I found that
strange, but I think it does kind of what Psycho 4 was trying to do, which is just paint kind of the situation of how Norman can go from quote unquote normal to murder. Like that's the kind of thing and where that split is. So, I mean, it definitely has problems. It's not perfect.
Right.
But I do kind of appreciate that because it is giving us a little window into what came before the movie. But I love Psycho. I have nothing against it.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, let's get through these comments.
So we got some comments.
Right, we got some
we got
comments
a comment from Kathy
from our
here.
wide range of listeners.
Yeah, Kathy
All
says-
million of you.
Yeah. The original Psycho movie was the only one based on Robert Bloch's 1959 novel of the same name. Now, Kathy says that Norman Bates was based on serial killer Ed Gein, but Bloch denied that, citing that none of the circumstances, Gein didn't run a motel, etc., were similar. The only comparison for Bloch was that he used a middle American man from a small town as his main character.
Yeah.
The book actually, I think, takes place in like Illinois.
Yeah, and
something
again,
like
that whole rural idea, that was
Yeah.
the main similarity.
Janet Leigh said that in numerous interviews that the shower scene left her traumatized and that she had trouble showering after that.
Oh, I imagine.
And that
Fair.
she mentions that, Anthony Perkins was not really famous when he was cast. He was a 20-something boyish good looks that, could not be really seen as mentally unstable. And she said, what a performance. and the Janet Leigh character was on the run because she stole $40,000, and she mentions that, the inflation that we mentioned.
Yeah, that
earlier.
was cool that my mom looked that up. Kathy is my mom.
Jen
Big supporter of the show. Thanks, Ma.
Jen says that I haven't seen it in ages, but I love how it taps into primal fear of being murdered in the shower. Shower scene is what everybody remembers.
Well, you're the most vulnerable you can be, right? Like a lot of times you're home alone. You're fucking naked. Vulnerable.
She said, I hadn't considered that particular horror before, and credit Hitchcock for implanting new neuroses in me at an impressionable age. All good art should do this. Katie said, obviously a lot of horror movies have recognizable theme songs, but the score from Psycho is the most recognized, which is impressive considering how old the movie is. Mm-hmm. And she said that it's amazing how they got away with all the horror without any type of modern day CGI.
Oh yeah, practical effects. I mean, the shooting and everything.
And spoiler alert, Katie's my sister. She mentions how we went to Universal Studios. My dad was selected to do the live Psycho show, and he got to play Norman.
Oh, really?
In that scene. Because he had white
story.
sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other guy had white sneakers, so he could almost look like he teleported. Camila said, I always wondered when everyone arrives at the motel, why do they get out of the car on the passenger side?
It's a good question.
She says all the sequels are trash. Also, I wish with certain current movies, they would take the same approach as Hitchcock with Psycho's release. No one is allowed in the theater after the movie has started.
Amen.
No one will do that because they're obsessed with money now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's that. Sorry.
Chrissy says, I remember seeing a more recent remake, and it was the first time I saw Vince Vaughn, and I remember thinking he was utterly creepy and weird as hell. He was later turned out to be quite a comedic talent. As for the original, I watched it in my early teens and instilled a healthy fear of showering. So this is a normal trait here. I also was wondering if there were boobs in the movie. If it's a horror movie with a shower scene, guaranteed boobs. It's the older days, and that would be improper. And I answered her, no, there were no boobs.
I think there's side boob.
No boob.
There is a little side boob.
There is side boob.
Side boob.
Boobs.
Say it right.
Chris Lemke, if you're still watching.
He might be.
Yes,
Yeah.
Chris Lemke. He's commenting.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah.
He's been the best.
You can verify that the success of Psycho has directly led to a spike sale in Hershey's chocolate syrup.
Right, because that's the blood. I told you.
And the advent of student films where it's 3 hours of toilet flushing and RuPaul's Drag Race.
I love it.
Also, and more seriously, I think is one of the more interesting and important parts of the film was Hitchcock's disdain and subsequent punishment of the audience coming to the movies late and missing the start of the movie. So he specifically created a film that punished viewers for coming into the theater midway, and changed how the medium was attended and perceived. Also, please answer the question, why Gus Van Sant? Why?
I told you,
Yeah.
he's a scientist in a laboratory.
And he said, and finally, if this movie was released today, would it be considered transphobic, misogynistic, and lead to a bunch of incels on 4chan or Reddit making memes about Norman Bates being a nice guy to Marion Crane?
Fair.
Nice guy.
That's fair. I think that the times have changed. There was no intention, I don't think, to be transphobic, but at this point, the idea that
they didn't even know what that meant
expressing
back
someone
then.
as being insane
Sadly.
or deceitful, that's usually poor form.
Christian says, I only saw this film one time. I got it from the library when I was a teenager. Nothing too earth-shattering at the time because I had already seen the shower scene. My sister loves Hitch, but it took her a long time to see Psycho because she was scared. I did see a tiny piece of Psycho 9 or something like that.
Psycho 9?
And I remember thinking, no thanks. Now, if we're talking about Vince Vaughn and Anne Heche, well, I have a good memory of that one, and it was the first R-rated movie I saw in the theater by myself.
Oh, my God.
Back then, you didn't need to be accompanied by an adult, and they just had you buy a ticket, so my sister bought me a ticket to see it. I remember they showed the dates and times on the screen. We were sitting in the theater in the movies at the exact date and time the murders took place. I saw it opening day.
Wow, that's neat.
That's cool.
That's cool, Christian.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And Travis said that here's his order: Psycho 2, Psycho the original, Psycho 4, Psycho 3, and Psycho remake.
Yes.
And then Megan got extremely deep. Said following the release of the original Psycho film, it was blamed in different court cases for being the cause of number of murders.
Wow.
It was the film that started a debate about the links between screen violence and antisocial behavior. People felt the themes...
Son of a bitch!
Yeah. And then Joe Lieberman with video games.
Yeah.
People felt that the themes of the movie also attacked cherished American values, especially wholesome mother-child relationships. What recent movies do you think have caused similar types of debate and have attacked what people feel are wholesome American values?
God damn, that's a deep one.
That's
What do you guys
like that. Let's talk about what you think first because you've had time to mull this question.
Yeah,
over.
I was going to say you kind of springing it on us.
Well, I don't think that this film attacked it because it was kind of forgotten. But I love Serial Mom by John Waters. That movie is great.
Great movie.
the mother-child relationships.
That
yeah,
kind of goes after that, and I mean,
definitely.
oddly, take a look at my YouTube channel coming up soon for a release of an interview. I talked to the documentary filmmakers who did a documentary on Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which really went after the convention of American values by saying, "Oh my God, there might be gay kids in the suburbs
that dance in their bedrooms."
Yeah.
What?
So shocking. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I would say
think about that question. I don't know that I have an answer to that question right now. Megan, I'm gonna have to think.
The only one I could think of would be American History X.
Yeah,
that
really bothered a lot of people.
Really bothered a lot of people. That one because I mean it's a corrupting force inside of a family unit. Like that the father is a bigot and an anti-Semite, and he kind of infects everyone around him. And you basically have this family unit that's corrupted from the inside. So that's one movie I could think of that definitely, targets traditional American values.
I could see that.
What do we have comment-wise here?
Oh, we had. I kind of mentioned them as they happened. We have Connor.
He should not be on this.
No, he's not anymore. He was on for a hot minute. I really kind of said them as they came.
Okay.
And the way that this kind of works, it doesn't show me all of them at once that I can see them. So, Chris, shout out to really engaging with the material. Thank you so much.
And Chris, to answer your question, because I did see this one early. I think that Psycho 2 had a better Dennis Franzian performance.
Brian,
I said Die Hard 2.
But Die Hard 2 is a better movie.
No.
But this is more Franzi.
Brian answered as the Psycho show and spoke for all of us in a way that I do not condone.
Hey now. I say Die Hard 2.
Because he's in there.
He's in there longer, so you're getting double doses of the Franz.
Double Franz.
Double Denny.
Franz squared.
Yeah, you're double downing on the Franz.
Guys, 150
episodes.
150.
Well, we didn't ask our audience if they have any questions. You guys got any comments?
They're tired.
They're tired. And
yeah, you do.
Yeah, Matt, what's up? I watched it with Chrissy whenever we were young. Oh, that's cool.
Come up here to the microphone, sir.
Bring it.
I just wanted to say that I watched it with Chrissy when we were both young teens, and it was completely unspoiled. I went in cold. I knew nothing about the movie. It was a fantastic experience.
That's awesome. See, that's why when people don't see things, I want to support that because you can't see everything at once, and to have something like that not spoiled for you, like that's fucking dope. I love that.
My dad was a complete total asshole when I rented this tape and ruined it for me on the ride home.
No, your dad did that all the time. You would rent something and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's how it ends." You'd be like,
"Producers, Alien, Psycho, he ruined."
Oh, you'd be like,
dude,
Dad, I'm
shut
12.
the fuck up.
I haven't seen it yet.
Damn it, I'm glad you're dead.
I'm glad you're dead. Jesus Christ.
Your faces, but you clearly don't know how weird John is. It's
I'm just kidding. He's not dead. Oh yeah, he is.
Wow.
It's fine. You look so upset, Eric. It's fine. He's not like normal people. It's fine.
No.
It's fine.
No dirty.
Wow. Well, here you go. There's your knife.
There's your knife.
Yeah, not mother, daddy.
Wow.
Are you stabbing your dick there?
Well, thank you, Matt, for sharing. Who's probably now sorry he shared anything.
Anybody else? Yeah, you got one?
Jess.
Okay, come up here.
Sweet.
Step
why
on,
do you
come
have
on
to
down.
upset company? Why do you always have to upset people?
I don't know what I'm doing. Okay.
Okay.
One, I saw Psycho when I was like 9. My mom made me watch it.
Yeah.
And then I took bubble baths for like a straight year and a half. And my mom, I only found this out recently. She lied and told me that like our bubble bath was broken. That doesn't make sense. And then I had to
how
like
does the
take
bubble
showers.
bath break?
Yeah. These are questions I don't have the answer to. But yeah, so that's her fault though. Next, okay, so y'all talked about how like Psycho, they had to add a part at the end to like explain things.
Yes.
Right.
Have you heard or seen of the movie The Bad Seed?
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it. Definitely heard of
Holy
it.
buckets.
Isn't it a child who's
child murderer?
Child murderer. Yeah.
Yes, and they had to actually change the. I don't think this matters if I spoil it, but basically, yeah, child murderer. And they had to add for the movie at the end. They had to change from the book and the play to have the little girl who was a murderer die because they had to show that there were consequences to killing. But that was not part of the original story.
Wow.
Anyways, movie's nuts. Really good. Highly recommend.
Excellent.
Check that one out.
Excellent. I like that. I like that
Thank
a
you, man.
lot. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jess. I appreciate that. Awesome. Well, guys,
150 deep.
150 deep.
Here's to another 150.
I don't have any beer in here, but
We can still
fine.
tap.
here's
Yeah.
Fake it.
150.
Film's a lie.
Yeah.
Film's a lie.
All right. Well,
So-
thanks everyone. If
Yes.
you've stuck with us for this long,
Thank you.
Thanks to our live studio audience
Thank
of
you.
100
Thank
people.
you. Thank you. So, just to
Oh, I
close-
like that you bow like it was all you.
It was all me. You don't have any idea how hot I am and itchy.
That's you all the time. It's fine.
So, to close us
Our
out,
war.
John, where can they find you at on the Twitter machine?
No, mommy. No, I'm sorry. The Unreal J Wolves.
Lane.
LA_Croft.
Now you're fucking.
There you are. Yeah. Oh my
the
God.
hell?
We heard you that time.
Oh, am I on now?
Holy hell yeah.
Shit.
Yeah,
At the end, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Of course, it's fine.
of course. Okay.
All right, and Brian.
You can find me at Brian Contenhouse from the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network at epicastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite question or favorite movie or question you want to throw our way, or you want to talk to us about your murdery mother tendencies, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. And make sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and iTunes and catch a new episode next time.
Get out of my house, you whores! Get out!
Awesome.